Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about. Yes,
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, April 27th, and we are currently in the eve of the draft spectacular, and life is good. Yeah! Can't thank you enough for joining us here at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. All eyes are on tomorrow night's draft spectacular. We know it's going to be a 6-hour show. We have no idea what's going to happen during it. We have special surprise guests. We have big giveaways, and we have been prepping for this for at least the last 48 hours.
Yeah, at least.
This is big for our show. This is big for our company. We've actually started looking into this so we can enjoy this draft spectacular as opposed to the social experiment that the draft spectacular has been in years past. Normally, the first year we did the draft spectacular 2 years ago, we didn't know what. I never watched the first round of the draft, I realized, as we were live, and the show just dragged on for 6 hours. We were not prepared for it.
No.
A lot of people watched. We appreciated everybody watching, but it became almost like a car crash train wreck situation while people watch. Last year, we were in the living room in Tampa Bay.
That's right.
That thing we prepared a little bit more for, but once again, we forgot food.
Right.
And we also forgot how long the fucking draft is.
Yes, and what time it actually starts.
This year, we are pros. This year, we are veterans of the game.
That's right.
This year, we know that we have been prepared for a 10-hour show if need be.
Yeah.
Because this particular draft, it sounds like, and this point was mentioned yesterday, every single team is going to take the maximum amount of time available, which is 10 minutes, because it sounds like every single team is looking to trade out of the first round. So that means every pick is going to be 10 minutes. You do some quick math. There's 32 teams, let alone a 20-minute buildup.
Yep.
That's 320 minutes plus at least another 30 on top of that. We're looking at 350 minutes tomorrow.
Oh, wow. 6 hours, just about. Not
Let's
too
go.
bad.
It's a marathon.
You know? Come on.
Big giveaways that we're going to be giving away a lot. And also, we are going to introduce something this year that we haven't done in years past, which was just sitting there so obvious. This year, we will introduce the PMS FanDuel Fan Cam, which will be reactions around Twitter from fans of their team's draft picks. If it's good enough to make it on the show, you get $500.
Wow, here we go.
We have other big giveaways. We're going to be giving away things like massage chairs and Oculus. Yeah, like things like that throughout the entire evening. You know, whenever things get a little dry, which happens a lot during the draft, boom, let's give something away. We got shit on deck.
Hell yeah.
We obviously announced that Aaron Rodgers is going to be on.
Whoa.
That's right.
We announced this yesterday. Chris Ballard's going to be on.
Sure.
That's right.
I'm here to announce another one of our guests.
Okay.
Whoa.
No, because then they're not surprise guests if I announce everybody.
Yeah. Because you got
I'm not announcing
half and
anybody.
half. Half and half.
Okay.
Maybe more than half. Maybe
We're going
less
into
than
a couple different war rooms, though. And everybody needs to be pumped up. I'm very pumped up about that. Darius Butler will be live in studio. AJ Hawk will be in his attic in Ohio because he didn't prepare for the third straight year to be on.
guy.
Kind of
Per usual.
He's the worst.
What's his problem?
I don't know.
He absolutely blows, probably.
He's not a champion of the draft spectacular at all.
That's right.
No, he's not.
Bad gambler.
He's almost like he's embarrassed of the draft spectacular. That's why he wants to
seems
be
like
over.
it. It
in
does
his
seem like that.
Doesn't want to be with us and celebrate
No, he
with us.
doesn't.
Yeah.
We'll ask him about that in the second hour. First hour today, we got Sham Charania. Second hour today, alongside AJ Hawk, we got Joel Klatt from Fox and the NFL Network's draft coverage. He calls games all fall alongside Gus Johnson. They are great in the booth together.
Yes.
Dynamite.
College football is college football. It's a much different game than NFL football. Obviously, the atmospheres are electrifying. Gus and Joel call a great college football.
They do.
game.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume they do great in the NFL as well. I don't think I've ever heard them. Heard Gus on the NBA. He crushed it. Gus and Joel are a tag team that, the football world is very thankful for. And Joel makes his PMS show debut today.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go,
right.
Joel.
I've never met this guy.
Okay.
I've had zero interactions with him. I'm not even sure he knows who I am or I know anybody that he knows. I assume we've encountered
Sure.
a couple people, but
Right.
I know nothing about this guy. I cannot wait to chat with him.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. Like you said, I think they're one of the few booths that actually they do enhance the product,
Yes.
I think
especially
so.
when you're watching the Big Ten. Like it's I'm juiced up if Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson are calling an Iowa game.
Bingo. That means it's a big game, and it'll feel like a big game.
Right.
Which is really the only thing that matters. And then in the third hour live in the studio right there, Matt Ryan.
Nice.
I guess this is not his first interview since becoming a Colt. Obviously, he had his press conference and some other things, but I have not heard him speak much, so that's 100% on me for not doing enough research. I got a lot of questions for old Matty Ice. That's going to be sitting right here. The first thing I'm going to let him know is how thankful I am that he's an Indianapolis.
Right.
Sure.
I'm going to make sure he feels the love immediately upon walking in the studio.
Man.
Like, hey, thank you for wearing that suit. Thank you for acting the way you act. Thank you for being the way you are. And thank you for taking this Colts team to the Super Bowl next year.
Thank you, Matt.
Appreciate it.
Now, with that being said, let's talk a little shop here.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, what did he tell me about him? And but I am excited to talk to Matt Ryan. There's a lot that has happened in his entire career. At what point did he know he was done in Atlanta? You know, that's a big decision, especially somebody that was that deep into the trenches of the community and the city and the team and the fabric, basically, of Atlanta. Matt Ryan was kind of weaved into all of that. At what point did he realize it was over? And how often did his wife ask, like, what is Indianapolis like? Like, are we going from Atlanta to fucking Indianapolis? Is that a conversation or not? Just all those things I'm excited to hear about. Also, your phone calls on the 5 Energy phone line. 1-833-4-McAfee. We'll chit chat with everybody. Tomorrow's show, noon to 2 here, youtube.com/the Pat McAfee Show. Then we will all get home and continue, or get out of here and continue our preparation for the Draft Spectacular, which is our biggest show every single year. It would be cool if it wasn't, though.
Yeah.
Like, if tomorrow does terribly, that'd be great because we won't have to do a fourth one.
What do you mean?
Temper
It's awesome.
expectations.
End with 3.
Here's Atone Diggs, one half of the hammer. Dahn. Cowboys, you love the draft, have always loved the draft, look forward to the draft, actually pumped up about the draft without the Draft Spectacular being a thing.
Yeah, before I came out to Indy, prior 5 years previous to that, I attended a draft night spectacular party with coworkers for the 5 years previous to that. So
It wasn't spectacular. It was just a draft standard.
Getting boozed up.
yeah.
Ours is a draft spectacular.
That's right.
Theirs is a draft standard party.
Draft standard party. So yeah, I mean
Standard draft party.
standard draft party.
It was probably a lot more fun than ours because they're not on camera the entire time. We are on
Not
camera.
performing, just enjoying the event.
Yeah, we are being watched as if we
But
are
yes,
in
love
a
the draft.
zoo.
Sure.
Love the draft.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's-
Percentages say these guys aren't going to work.
I probably first and foremost, it's an NFL event, so like automatically checks a box there. Just like I enjoy I like college football, so then this is the next step. There's fucking glitz, there's glamour. You get to see everybody, and there's
Rodgers there.
You get to be
Yeah.
happy. You get to be happy for everybody.
Peanut M&Ms.
You get to, everyone's positive. Every team, well, not every team, because you could trade up for a quarterback when you have a Hall of Famer and an MVP and stuff.
Okay.
So not everybody's
4 or 5
happy,
years
but a lot of people are happy. Like a lot of people have optimism. I like that. It's a feel good affair.
The Draft Spectacular has been terrible for Ty Schmidt, and you just referenced it.
Yeah.
Like, personally, professionally, it's been great. I want to let everybody know Ty might have his best performance yet.
By far.
Might.
Yeah.
I mean,
Says a
we'll
lot.
see. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. TBD. Find out tomorrow.
This has been fun, though. This has been, enjoyable. I was actually up rather late last night just thinking about the Draft Spectacular because there's been a lot of other stuff going on in our world. Obviously, our show, everything is just like day to day. Let's just do what's in front of us. I've talked about this. I'm not a chess player. I'm a checkers player. What's right in front of us? Let's go ahead and accomplish it. I try to live in the moment as much as possible, no matter what I'm doing. If I'm doing business, I try to be all in that particular call. Let's go ahead and make this thing happen. If I'm doing WWE, I try to be all in WWE. Let's enjoy this moment as much as possible. Let's give it everything. When we're doing the show, same exact thing. So the forethought is not necessarily my bread and butter. It's like, I want to be right here. It's Draft Spectacular. I feel like we've really put some thought into, and that might be to our, demise because we never do that.
Maybe.
This might be like the Halloween party where all of our cameras crashed.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Just, what was that, an hour, 10 minutes before the show started.
That was brutal.
It was the first thing we ever really prepared for in this show's history. And it went down, but I think the Draft Spectacular is going to be pretty neat. Ty, you got to be looking forward to this, pal. I mean, I've already seen some of you from Draft Spectacular, and I'll tell you got to be looking forward to tomorrow night, pal.
Oh, yeah. Always am. I mean, like you said, we don't really, the show's every single day, but we don't really have anything on the calendar where you circle year after year where it's like, okay, you know exactly what you're getting into. You know what the expectations are. You know what you have to do. And then actually having your team potentially have like an impactful night in the draft is kind of just a little bonus. So it really is, it's kind of like a performance at the start. And because the Packers are usually back there, then, your butthole tuckers up a little bit and it's like, get ready for the pick. And you just hope they don't just rip your heart out, which they kind of have the last 2 years. Last year, not so much. It was more so Rodgers leaving, but and then already we're hearing, hey, Waller's not going to be going there. Debo's probably going somewhere else. So it's like, all right, well, let's lock in on the draft picks. And
Just
let's
like
see
4 days ago.
Yeah, exactly.
4 days ago, Darren Waller was maybe coming and Debo was maybe a Packer. And life was so good for Ty. And then this morning, news sources, well, Debo's probably going to the Jets. If he is going to be moved, he's going to go to the Jets. They are going to put a very aggressive offer on the table because Bob Saleh loves the guy and they need him. They absolutely need somebody like him. So they're going to get aggressive, especially in that AFC East who's been making all the moves. And then Darren Waller, holy hell, this guy's going to be moved for a second-round draft.
That's it?
He's going to be a
it.
Packer for a second-rounder.
Can't wait.
And then Derek Carr says, nah. And then more reports are coming out. Darren Waller's not going anywhere.
Firm no.
Raiders are disinclined to acquiesce that request.
Tony. Been reading the dictionary.
Draft spectacular week.
Well said.
Well, Jeremy Fowler used acquiesce, and I only know that because Captain Barbosa said that to Elizabeth Swann in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Shout out Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp's really putting his best performance forward right now. He
is.
That is funneling through everybody's social media accounts right now. At some point, you have seen Johnny Depp make a hysterical comment while under oath testifying about himself.
That's right.
In the last 4 or 5 days.
We're laughing at her lawyer for objecting his own statement.
Or fucking with her lawyer for being, just
Absolute doofus.
Here's
absolute. Go on.
Objection.
There it is.
The witness on the stand, too. Is like,
A couple of him looking, saying, well, he did tell me. Objection. Okay, thank you. That lawyer, he's normally these television lawyers that get on TV and do a case, their careers go like this.
oh, yeah.
I feel like Amber Heard's lawyer.
Probably.
Yeah.
This is his last case.
Is this the first guy that's ever lost an entire? He lost his entire bar because of it.
Big time.
He is there. He objected himself yesterday. I mean, he is just stumbling and fumbling all over himself.
Imagine being the lawyer though, jumping into like that legit shitty situation. Like they
that
lost.
makes
They
it-
lost already.
That
Turn.
makes it-
There it is.
Like that lawyer has no chance.
Well,
The jury loves Johnny. That's
the
doesn't?
entire setup. I mean, you got to remember, Johnny Depp's life was like just completely taken to. What seems like is a complete lie now that we're watching it all unfold. And that lawyer, he was coming in guns blazing, probably telling all his lawyer friends going in this trial, "Wait till you see what I do."
Oh, it's a slap
Bury
dunk.
him.
Wait till you see what I do.
Jack Sparrow's fucked.
That dude's going back to like what's the lower level of legalese? What are those?
Like Saul
paralegal.
Goodman.
He's going back to be the paralegal. This guy. Anyways,
Good luck out there.
why would they trade Darren Waller? They have 2 years left, $6.8 million and like $7 million or whatever on the two deals. And although Darren Waller can't be happy about the amount of money he's getting paid, especially with how big of a focal point he's been on the offense for the last couple years. Every primetime game he gets the ball every single game. That's not the Raiders probably like, hey, we're not moving on from you yet. Hold on, pal. If we had 1 year left, maybe. Now we're not going to do it, which stinks for the Packers, stinks for the Colts for sure. But once again, it feels like everything we're hearing this week is all fugazi.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that. Everything's a lie. 2 days ago, it was allegedly reported that the Jaguars aren't thinking about Aiden Hutchinson or Travon Walker. It's actually Icky out of NC State. They're thinking about taking a tackle. It's nothing that we have heard, it feels like is going to end up coming true. And this is the last 2 years of the Draft Spectacular we experienced this, where we were like, hey, next year we got to remember, like everything's bullshit.
Yes.
Next year we got to remember everything's bullshit. Mac Jones is going 3 overall.
Yeah. Should have been.
I mean, that was locked in since literally Alabama Pro Day when John Lynch and Shanahan traded two first rounders and another one to go up to number 3 overall. Zach Wilson was already locked in. Trevor was already locked in or whatever. It's like Mac Jones is going at 3 overall to San Francisco. What happens at 4? That was like the conversation. For 2 months, it was just locked in basically. Boom, month and a half. Mac Jones going to San Fran. Then literally morning of, we're the ones that change the entire, like, no, that's not the case. And that changes everything for the entire draft. And I think we're staring at that yet again, especially with all the unknowns of this year. Connor, this year, I mean, we don't know any of the fucking people in the draft. I mean, Mitt is going to put out his 5.0, his 5th and final mock today.
Yep, can't wait.
We're going to go through that at some point. And he's got $20,000 on the line.
Yeah.
Jesus.
If his mock is more accurate, and we did find a scoring system, if his mock is more accurate than the other main mocks, Mitt gets 20 grand.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay, this is a big couple days here for Mitt.
Yeah.
This is a big deal for Mitt, obviously. He just bought a Mustang, probably looking to buy another one. Who
That's right.
knows? Maybe a couple more fancy J's for his
Suit
son.
up.
Yeah, he's going to be, he'll spend that 20 grand before he even gets it. But
Yeah.
he would like to earn that. He has quite a shakeup in his fucking mock draft as well. And it's like, Mitt, who are you talking to? And he's just trying to get a read of everything. There is nothing concrete, it feels like, about this draft at all, Connor.
No, I feel like all three of the top picks, like no matter who it is, one of them's going to trade back. Like if everyone's trying to trade back, you got to think there's at least one.
But
team.
once again, we don't know if that's true.
No.
Everybody's trying to trade back. That could mean that everybody's trying to trade up.
Yeah.
This is like we're watching a poker game play. We're watching people, and we don't know the cards. We're watching people make plays, leverage plays that might be a month and a half in process. Like now, Seattle hasn't even talked to anybody allegedly. Seattle hasn't talked to anybody, and they're doing, and it'll come out on draft night. Like they actually did that on purpose because they didn't want anybody to think that they were interested. That's why they took blah blah blah. Like there's a chance that happens, and it always makes sense afterwards. But leading up to it, it's tough to get a good grasp on things.
Yeah, like before the show, I was like, what if just no quarterbacks get drafted in the first round? Like what happens if every single team's like, you know what? One of these guys is going to be there in the second round. Let's just keep passing on them, Like the Panthers, this whole entire time has been talked about. Like, hey, they're a lock. They're going to take a quarterback. And now in the past couple of days, it's like actually they're probably going to take a tackle and then see what falls to them later in the draft. I mean, the 3 months since the season ends, or since January when college football ends, has just been all this, talk about these top guys. And now we have no idea the day before because everybody might take the exact opposite of what we thought they were going to
If no quarterbacks were taken, by the way, that would be exactly what they were saying like 2 months ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
2 months ago, all these quarterbacks were terrible. None of them are that physically imposing. I guess some of them have good arms or not good experience. There's no reason to waste the number one overall on any of these quarterbacks. And then free agency comes and goes, and there's a couple teams that still need a quarterback, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this guy, he's got a little bit more vascularity than we thought.
Put this fucking ball in your hands.
Hey, spin that pigskin, boy. But if none of them go, like that would be what was said 2 months ago. And I think as we continue to roll into Draft Spectacular 4, Draft Spectacular 5, we have to continue to remember when is the most accurate time of the entire draft process. Is it a month and a half ago before free agency? Is it immediately afterwards? When is the most accurate draft analysis happening? And when does Fugazi start? Or is that immediately happening as soon as the season is over?
You would think that it would be accurate like soon as the college football season's over.
Which Thibodeau, right?
Yeah.
Thibodeau is number one overall in January.
Tell you what, I've been watching some tape on the guys, just so I have some information. And
Hey, thank you for that, by the way, because there will be 18, maybe not 20 picks probably tomorrow night where not a single one of us will know the person's name, position, or where they came from.
No clue.
And that won't just be me. That'll be AJ won't have a clue.
Yep.
Darius does the little draft analysis.
Yeah.
Darius might know. You guys certainly won't fucking know. Nobody back there will know. So we automatically all like kind of look at Tone like, Tone, do you know who this guy is? And sometimes you don't have a fucking clue.
sometimes, but like Thibodeau and Hutchinson, I think they might be better players than Walker. It might go number one. Who knows? But looking at the quarterbacks, I saw a graph this week that the first quarterback taken in the last 20 years was either in the top 3 or there wasn't a quarterback taken until like after 18, I think.
Like
So-
Tony Analytics.
So if history suggests anything, if they don't go in the top 3, they're not going to go until the bottom half of the first round, the first quarterback.
I can't wait for the draft spectacular.
Yeah, that's why Detroit's in the best position, it feels like. They can take a guy at 2, and then they can wait to see who falls at 32.
Yeah, and they could trade out of 2 too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They can act like they want a quarterback or want somebody. They can trade out of there. Or they can take Hutchinson and bring the Michigan guy back home if he's not taking number one overall, which he was, by the way, number one overall for 2 months straight.
Yeah.
So none of it. Why is everybody? Why you always lying? Why you always lying? All these NFL teams bullshit and lying. Why is everybody lying, Foxy?
I don't know, but that feels like the only no-brainer of the draft. If Hutchinson is available at 2, the Lions will take him. I think we can all agree on that one.
Yeah, you got to keep him guessing.
Yeah,
though.
right.
Hopefully.
If MCDC does the predictable thing, is he still MCDC?
Right.
That's a good point.
And what if someone else loves ball more than anybody else in the draft? Then they go too.
There's been a lot of people come like Aiden Hutchinson's athleticism has been questioned. I think mostly because he is a white.
Yeah.
Right.
He's everybody's just kind of put a cap on his athleticism. And that has been a thing that the Aiden Hutchinson camp has been trying to combat, I think. That's why you heard Harbaugh come out and say his 3-cone is literally faster than any other human that's ever done it. Then you hear some other people like, this guy is a freak specimen athlete. I don't know why it's being talked about that. Aiden is hearing all this as well.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And if Aiden's going to be the guy that, Bobby Carpenter said yesterday he's going to come in for 10 years, if you can get a guy that you know is going to be a lock, is that who you want to spend your first-round pick on?
Yes.
That's what I think so, too. But I guess Balky has a big, upside. What's upside? We can get the best player potential, and we don't have to pay him a lot.
Especially when you're the Lions and you fucked up past draft picks. You just take the guy that's a lock and you keep it moving, and everyone's happy.
Well, that's what you're saying, but the Lions.
Yeah, and with the Jags, if they take a D lineman, they already have Josh Allen on the other side. How great does the guy have to be immediately? So, if they are looking for a project, and if Walker is technically that guy, you already have another D end on the other side that can make plays, and you don't have to be, the guy. I feel like if Hutchinson goes to Detroit, he has to be the guy on the D line right away.
And Mick can echo this sentiment because he grew up in a coach's house or whatever. Potential will get your ass fired.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest. That's the biggest, I think, disagreement between the coaching staff and the front office of NFLs, because the front office of NFLs are normally the ones making decisions on drafts, and they're the coaches ask a question hey, why do we take this guy over this guy? Well, he has the potential to be blah blah blah, and then 1 year passes, hasn't clicked yet. 2 year passes. Hasn't clicked yet. Well, that coach hasn't got this player to the potential that the front office thought it was. We could probably move this coach out and let's get somebody else in there. Where a lot of these coaches are can we not get a guy who's maybe a good football player already, and then we can make him a little bit better?
Yeah.
And it's that fine balance of who has the zoomed out view of 5 years from now what this player could be, where the coaches are trying to save their job this year and be the best they can be this year. That's why the draft adds so many extra elements of emotion and drama, because it's there's going to be pissed off fans, there's going to be pissed off coaches in buildings. They can't say shit, by the way. Those coaches, hey, we'll give you the players. Sure. All right, we will give you the players. Even though the coaches say, you're not going to ask a chef to cook with ingredients that he doesn't get to pick. Why are you asking us to coach players that we have no say in or whatever? And it's well, you just got to do that. There's so much drama in the draft, so much drama. And just like I mentioned Tony Analytics earlier, stats tell us that most of these dudes are going to stink.
Sure. Yeah.
Most of these dudes are not going to pan out, which is tough. We don't like that. We don't like that that's the case, but that is the case.
Well, and when you just look at previous drafts where that was kind of the thought, Clelin Ferrell was the 4th overall pick to the Raiders, and he was all potential, and then they picked Max Crosby in the 3rd round, and he blows everybody away because he was kind of a guy. And that's also why it's awesome being a Patriots fan, because if they're drafting someone, he's either a guy or he's going to come in and get unbelievable coaching by Bill, like Kyle Duggar, who was the D2 safety who got drafted in the 2nd round. They traded out of the 1st round for. Had a okay start in the 1st season, but by season 2, he's going to come in, have all the knowledge, be kind of more experienced, and be very good, which he was this year. If you're one of those teams in the top 3, how are you going to get draft potential when you need to get a guy immediately, or else you're going to be picking in the top 3 next year again?
That is so interesting because your team stinks right now. Patriots don't stink. They got time.
Yeah, exactly.
The Patriots got a roster that, hey, we can develop some guys. We can hope that this guy will be able to take over this legend that we're going to force out. All right, that's what the Patriots think. Once this legend, we're going to force them out.
Only with quarterbacks, not with any other
basically
position.
every other. Yeah. Bruschi, Vinatieri. There's a long history. Don't even get into it. There's a long history of running people out of town.
Bruschi needed to call it, okay? Everyone was worried about his health. I think that was, a team.
I mean, the Patriots own the media network that you guys are hearing all your news from.
Richard Seymour, Vince Wilfork, Randy Moss.
Willie, I think. Willie got pushed.
McGinnis.
This is what you guys do.
Willie didn't get pushed out.
Well, ain't nobody pushing Willie anywhere, by the way. I see that motherfucker. He's still as big as that goddamn door.
That's right. And a lot of times it comes down to the money because these guys, they have their best years in New England and they deserve to get paid. But unfortunately,
Gronk, he tried to trade him.
Gronk, he retired.
Yeah. So you guys force out everybody, but you guys have the patience though. I'm gonna get this player. We're gonna coach him up. We're gonna make him better. Then whenever this player who's really good, who's done a lot for us, okay, and we're not grateful for it all. But when this player gets to a point where he's like, you know what, I like to get paid. We're gonna go, oh, cool, because this fucking 5th rounder, boom, will kind of take over your spot.
Yeah,
that's what the Patriots have been able to do. That's why 20 years of success happens. By the way, that's why the dynasty happens, because they have almost like a feeder system. The teams up in the top who have been. Jacksonville has picked number 1 overall 2 years in a row, and there's no sense of that slowing down.
No, yeah, it really does seem like the philosophy should be flipped around. Like, the same deal with like the Packers or the Steelers. Like most of the time when they're picking a guy, I mean, you don't count Jordan Love recently, but like that guy is going to end up probably being an impact player, or he's going to see significant snaps the next year, as opposed to, where he could go somewhere else and be a guy the entire year, but they're projecting it like, oh well, this guy, he has the potential to be incredible in the next
3 years.
3 to 4 years. But all those guys in the back half of the draft typically are guys who are making an impact right away.
So my a thing I learned my rookie year with the Colts, and West Virginia, we didn't haze anybody. I don't think. No, there was like no hazing. Like nothing. Yeah. I've heard stories about other hazing situations in football. I did not grow up in the football world. So when I heard these stories, I was like, all right, is this going to happen to me? Like, I'd have my I's dotted and my T's crossed. Sure. If this situation arises, how am I? You know how to think about it. No hazing. There's no none of the shit that you hear. Then you get to the NFL and you see like people shave people's heads and they do all that shit. You got to do this, and you have to carry pads and do like the natural, young like earn your stripes stuff. But Peyton Manning and the boys up there, they were adamant upon like, hey, we're gonna need these rookies to win a fucking game. Like we are gonna need 7 to 8 of these rookies to play meaningful minutes for us, whether it's teams, whether it's on defense, whether it's on offense. I don't think anybody expected any of the rookies, especially ended like, hey, this guy isn't going to come in and be like our star. Like we don't need that. But we're going to need this class to perform well for us if we're going to want to go and win, because injuries happen and with the salary cap, with how cheap people are. It's just, how do you pick and choose who's going to be good and who's not going to be good? I have no idea. But if you're number 1, number 2, number 3 overall, you would assume, give me the guy that's going to be a guy.
Yeah.
Because if you want to make your team right now better, which should be your goal, I guess, but everybody thinks long term, whatever. If you want to win right now, like you should pick the player that's ready to be dropped onto the field right now.
Right.
But if you just want your resume to say that you drafted, this player in 5 years, he's going to become. Remember, Balky drafted blah blah blah.
Alden Smith.
Blah blah blah. But although like the first 3 years they weren't worth a fuck, they turned into it. It's like, what are you sacrificing in return? Because the ultimate projection of your resume will be like, oh, this guy drafts great players. That's all a philosophy that I'm happy I don't have to fucking deal with. I'm happy I don't have to get in that conversation, because give me the guy that's going to be a guy right now is who I want, because I want to win this year. And some people just don't think like that, and I guess you're not supposed to in some positions.
Well, and that's why when you look at the Jags and they're talking about these D linemen, it's like, hey, you just drafted a quarterback last year. Like, you might as well build up his offensive line and see if he's an actual guy before, like, thinking about we need to get our defense good. If
in 5 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, come on. You have Trevor Lawrence. Like, let's see if he's a very good quarterback, or if maybe, you got to think about in the next few years when you're the number 1 pick next year if you want to take C.J. Stroud or not.
They restructured, or they extended the tackle.
Yeah.
I believe right tackle.
Cam Robinson?
Yeah.
Left, I think.
Left, yeah.
Left tackle. He was franchise tag. He wasn't going to sign it. They ended up making a deal with him. He has been long-term for the Jags, left tackle. So they are working on the offensive line. The Jaguars and franchise tagged offensive tackle Cam Robinson have agreed to terms a 3-year, $54 million deal, $18 million per. We don't know what's real.
Nope.
We don't know what the deal's worth. $18 million. Congratulations. That feels like a good price for a left tackle. Bro.
Yeah. Very good.
Especially if they're paying Christian Kirk what they're paying Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Good for Cam. He's probably happy. He's getting a lot of fucking money. Hopefully. We don't know how much money he's actually getting, but hopefully he's getting a bunch of money. So maybe they are investing in the offensive line. Does that mean they're going to try to get a right tackle? Or are they going to try to get somebody else to protect him at number 1 overall? Is that where you go? Or are they trying to trade out? I have no idea what the fuck.
So I looked at that because, just because he got signed a left tackle doesn't mean you can't take one of these guys to play right tackle. Their right tackle is Juwan Taylor, who was the number 35 overall pick in 2019. So I assume they're probably going to see what he can do for another.
Is he good? I don't know. New coach.
To be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, I assume everyone on that team kind of fucking stinks just because they're the number 1 pick again. Even though they beat the Bills.
They did.
But it was only 9-6. They didn't score a touchdown.
They did beat the Bills.
That was the wildest thing.
The Urban Bowl.
Last year.
9-6.
Well, besides the Jaguars.
And they beat the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
In London.
And they beat the Colts, too.
Yeah, they did. And that, I mean, but
Clowntown last week.
Urban wasn't there. They were playing for a different coach.
Not Carson Wentz of Washington.
Bill's win was post Chop House, and Urban was still there. So that was more embarrassing, I think.
Yeah, because they rallied around the finger guns.
They did.
Bingo.
Let's pivot away from the NFL and the Draft Spectacular because we'll have a lot of conversation about that for the rest of the show as we are excited for tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. I believe we have a new Foxy Flick debuting right before that at 7:50.
Yes,
same stream, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Surprise guest giveaways. We will talk more about the Draft Spectacular with Joel Klatt, Matt Ryan, maybe AJ Hawk, but right now joining us, a man who covers the association.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
And I want to let you know, last night, I seen my favorite basketball player. I seen a basketball player who's only 22 years old.
Whoa.
Wow.
22 years old.
Jesus.
Take off and have one of the most devastating posters in the history of NBA, in the history of the playoffs, maybe the dunk of the century over top of a dude. Then just later would knock down a three to take the lead. Everybody thought that was a game winner. No. Answer from old Edwards, who made a hell of a play and made Ja look bad kind of in that moment.
A little bit.
Ant-Man,
But
yeah.
then with 3-point-something seconds left. This silky son of a bitch, uber athletic freak show dog takes a left-handed layup to get a win. The association is hot right now. Their playoffs have been spectacular. Joining us to chit-chat about it all and maybe some behind-the-scenes tales to help us understand everything going on, senior NBA insider for The Athletic in the Stadium, ladies and gentlemen, Sean Sharanya.
Pat, I love that introduction, man. Like Ja Morant, he's insane right now. He's insane.
He's an absolute dog. He is. He's a football player playing out there. It feels like he has that competitive nature that I absolutely love. He's not scared of the big moment. He's only 22 years old. The future of the league feels like it is in great hands. And these playoffs have been awesome, Shams. I assume the league is very pumped about it.
Yeah, no question. I mean, the way that every night, like these games that are being played, and even just this matchup, right? This 2-7 matchup between Memphis and Minnesota. I mean, these are two young teams that don't really have identities in the league. Like neither has been a championship caliber organization as of right now, but they're these young, hungry organizations. Minnesota, of course, Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell. They've got talent all across that lineup. And then you look at Memphis, Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bain. And like, I just love the fact that for Ja Morant, his teammates love him so much. And we just saw when he won the Most Improved Player of the Year award, which in his mind, probably he shouldn't have won it because he's a guy that's an all-NBA guy. He's a guy that's an MVP type of guy. And what does he do? He gives the award to his teammate, Desmond Bain. Yeah. Now, I don't know if Desmond Bain's going to keep that trophy, but that just, like that camaraderie, the youthful exuberance that these guys have, I mean, it's fun to watch, and it's fun to see these guys grow in the big moments in the playoffs.
Well, Desmond Bain was born in the dark.
Yeah, he was.
You know, so him getting out there is obviously incredible. Yeah, his teammates love him. It was very obvious because there was a lot of different situations where his teammates were like looking to him to gas him up almost in the middle of it all. Feels like the city of Memphis loves him as well, and he's not scared of anything. Him shit-talking Patrick Beverly in the middle of that, and Patrick Beverly's known to get in everybody's head. He is... I love Ja. He's my favorite player. Let's go Grizzlies.
Here we go, Grizzlies.
Let's bounce around a little bit. Obviously, the Celtics got like a week off. They're going to relax. Is there anything that we need to think about for the Celtics going forward? Are they going to win this whole thing?
Well, they're going to have a great shot because who could they play next round, right? It's Milwaukee, and they're down. You know, Chris Middleton. We're not sure how long he's going to be out of the lineup. But if he's down, that's an all-star player that Milwaukee's going to be without. So, yeah, Boston has all the ingredients. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Rob Williams. We talked about on the show last week. He came back after a torn meniscus surgery 3.5 weeks after the procedure. Like, that's unheard of in the NBA for a guy to come back that quick. And he was right there. He played 18, 20 minutes in the first game. He's back in the fold. This team is as deep. And they're championship ready. There's no question about it.
Oh, yeah.
They dispose of the Nets really, really quickly. But yeah, I mean, the Celtics has what it takes. We'll see what happens with Milwaukee. Can they get Chris Middleton back and healthy?
Okay, and because we're talking about the Celtics and you talk about old Bob coming back in 3.5 weeks after a meniscus, it's hard not to talk about the Nets. Kevin Durant is awesome on Twitter right now.
Yep.
Okay, I love Kevin Durant. I'm a big Kevin Durant guy. Obviously, Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving. He's his own person. if Ben Simmons would have played, everybody assumes that is not a sweep. It's a little bit more maybe competitive. They could keep up on the defensive end with Ben Simmons helping them out, maybe open the court up a little bit more too because of the way the Celtics were able to lock them down. Now, hindsight might show that the Celtics are able to do that to everybody for how good they are at defense and at playing. We don't know yet. But at this current moment, the Nets are being buried by everybody. More importantly, Ben Simmons is getting killed by everybody. What is this guy's deal? There's no way that he just is the softest dude in the history of in the history of competition, right? He has to have some sort of story here. Is he scared to play basketball again because he doesn't have the confidence that he can play? Is he real? Is his back like so fucked up that he just puts on a good front when he's sitting there? There's zero laboring, zero pain expressions on his face. What is it about Ben Simmons, you think, and what does his future look like?
At this point, it's all mental with Ben Simmons, and he's got to get to the point this offseason. I mean, they have 4 or 5 months here. The Nets, Ben Simmons, people around Ben Simmons that care about him to make sure that he gets on the right track. This is the most important offseason for Ben Simmons' career. This is an offseason. He's at a crossroads of his career right now because the way it went in Philly, then he gets to Brooklyn. And yeah, we talked about on the show, Pat, like there was an expectation around that organization that at least he'll be in uniform and available to play for Steve Nash. You know, I'm told that even if he was in uniform, there was a chance he might not even have played in Game 4, but at least he was taking the effort. He was at least in uniform, at least being able to be present around the team. And he just could not get there. And so whatever he's dealing with mentally.
So again, is it he's scared, Pat, Chumps? Is that what it is? He's just scared that he's going to embarrass himself? Like, isn't he at rock bottom already publicly? Like,
it's hard for me to say, like, is he scared to play because of what happened last year in the playoffs? But what I do know and what I'm told that he told, the Nets and their front office on Monday was that he feels like there's a mental block that's created that dates in part back to last summer in the playoffs last summer where we saw he passed up that layup. In that Game 7. It was a tough playoff for him, but that mental block is creating a stress that's also triggering the back. Now, I'm not a doctor. I've seen some tweets out there from doctors that saying, yeah, this could be a thing. The mind controls the body. So, listen, I'm not here to say one way or the other. That's how he feels, but it could also be true in the same sense that the Nets, the players, there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of, like, what more can we do? At some point, it becomes, Ben Simmons is going to have to take ownership and is going to have to take a level of accountability to, if there is this issue, like, let's deal with it. Let's get through it. Let's work with the right therapists. Let's work with the right people. Because at the end of the day, everyone around Ben Simmons, the Nets, they all want him to succeed. They all want him to get back on the court. He's paid to play basketball. Like, that's his occupation. And so how do you get him back into that mode? I think it'll be very interesting. Does he stay in Brooklyn? Does he stay at the facility all year? Or does he bounce around to city? Like, if I'm the Nets, I try to make sure he's staying in the facility. He's staying around the team, reingratiating himself around the roster. But this is going to be a very important summer for Ben Simmons to get back on track, mind and body.
I know a guy who, when he was a kid, his household spoke Spanish, and his friends spoke English. Okay, his family's from Cuba, and at his house, they'd all speak Spanish to him. And then when he'd go in public, they'd all speak English. And his Spanglish became so bad that nobody could understand what he was saying. So they actually had the great idea to take him to a hypnotist. And a hypnotist actually cured his brain from being able to speak Spanish. He was only able to speak English, but he could understand Spanish. That is an actual thing that happened in the real world. Is there any thought of him like going to a hypnotist or going to like a sports psychologist? And if that was to take place, that would mean Ben would have to admit that there is something going on, right? Which I think is what you were alluding to there with the accountability and the ownership of this entire thing.
No, I mean, I think he has admitted it, right? We've
publicly?
Been talking about this
no, he is not. If he would come out and say like, hey, I do not have the confidence to play basketball. I am so sorry. I wish I did. Like, I think people would be a lot nicer to him. Right now, it's just like a herniated disc, sore back, this, that. It's like a bad image for him. I feel like he should get in front of this. Don't you think, Sean? Shouldn't you come out and be transparent, or is he scared to do that and he doesn't think that would be cool or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, listen. I can't speak for that. I think that I think he has made all the efforts. I think he has. At some point, it just becomes a thing where you just got to get to that point, and I think the goal was to try to get him back out on the floor this year, and the goal was to try to get him playing and get him on the floor. I think, again, everyone's rooting for Ben Simmons. When we've seen him, Pat, on the court, he's the perfect fit. And when you talk about Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, to have a guy that can play all 5 positions, can guard all 5 positions, he's got everything. And so the goal was to get him back. But I think he has taken the steps to try to address it. He's seen his own therapist, his own psychologist to try to get there. And again, I'm not an expert on like that's how he's feeling. You know what I mean? And so you have to listen to that. And you have to understand that.
They need to hypnotize
and try to work with that.
They need to hypnotize him. This has happened.
Do you know one? If you know of one, let me know. I might be able to make it happen.
Well, Zito is actually the Spanglish-speaking guy that I was referring to there. That happened to Zito here. But this has happened in the past in sports. Like, people have done this before to get over a mental block or something like that. It feels like that would be the natural next step, but hopefully he figures it out, because he is getting murdered by everybody for how this is all paid. And also, I mean, when you're making $40 million, that type of shit's going to happen regardless. And sometimes you just got to grow up and admit that as well. Like, hey, I'm being asked to do more because I'm being given a lot of money to do stuff. Now let's move on. On the West, it feels like Golden State is an absolute wagon right now with how Poole's playing, with how Thompson's all the way back and his Jackie Moon stroking. Steph coming out as the sixth man of the fucking century almost coming out there. What do you see happening with Golden State? And do they feel just as good as everybody else feels about the Golden State Warriors' potential playoff run here?
I mean, Golden State, them, hopefully Devin Booker gets back healthy, but Golden State, Phoenix, and then you look out east, Miami, Milwaukee, Boston. Those are really the 5 teams. I think you got to give Dallas a puncher's chance as well. I think with Luka Doncic back in the fold, Dallas can be very frightening for playoff teams. So I would look at really those 6 teams as like legitimate threats to win the championship this year. And there's no question, like Golden State, I don't expect Steph Curry to be a 6th man much longer. But they're in a position now where they have, with him, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, they have the most lethal lineup potentially in these playoffs. And so we'll see what happens and how they manage that situation.
What'd you say there? You said something there. It kind of fell out of your mouth there. I don't know if you realize what you said there. You don't see Steph Curry being 6th man for much longer. That normally means something when an insider says something.
Yes, it does.
What does that mean, Sean? What are you?
Listen. Stephen Curry will be starting as soon as tonight in Game 5.
Put it on the ticket.
I don't expect the 6th man train to roll much further.
Okay.
Congrats to Steph.
Yeah.
Because Steph said a couple games ago, I'm fucking back.
Yep.
Now he actually is. Good. Hey, good on you, Steph.
Go get him,
Thank
Steph.
you, Shams. That's good news. That's good news, Shams.
I'm here to deliver the news. Right?
God, you're the best, Shams. Put it on a ticker. Tell Ben Simmons to go to a hypnotist. Let's save the association. Go ahead, Tone.
Shams, they won, so it's kind of a moot point here because, Vic Oladipo played very, very well last night. But did Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry, who are both we consider dogs, did they sit out last night even though they didn't really need? Are we resting players in the playoffs?
Oh man, listen. I'll say this: Jimmy Butler, the competitor he is,
exactly.
It was a real issue for him to be sitting in a playoff game. I don't think it's a serious injury. I have not been told that it's a serious injury. I think the Heat are hopeful that Game 1 comes around of that series between Toronto or Philly, that he'll be ready to go for that game. Kyle Lowry, on the other hand, guys, he's got a hamstring injury. So like those things can be, Pat knows. Those things can be a few days. It could be a week. It could be 2 weeks. You never know with hammies. But the goal is with him try to get him back for Game 1 of the next series too. But we'll see that series. Toronto, Philadelphia. It's 3-2 now.
3-2, yep.
Going back to Toronto.
Doc can't close out.
For that Game 6. I believe that's tonight. Like Philadelphia is going to have to get their stuff together, get their act together, and get one more win because Toronto's making this very difficult. But Miami will play one of those 2 teams. There is hope. There's optimism that both Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry can be back in the lineup.
Hey, Doc and Harden are getting killed right now. If they don't close this out after a 3-0, they are going to get murdered. Hey, it doesn't sound like I mean, it doesn't feel like hamstrings and shit happen like that often in the NBA. With how many games they play and how much they run, it's almost surprising to me that we're hearing about a hamstring from the NBA. Normally, an incredible, like, good warm-up, good hydration. It feels like that's a big part of it. Hamstrings can linger forever. Not only physically, but mentally. When he gets back, it's going to be in the back of his mind, like, oh, if I open this up or if I do something, there's a chance it's going to go. Hamstrings are a nightmare. That is no fun.
Yeah, hamstrings and calves. Like, the moment you pull them, it becomes a nightmare because you're dealing with it. And even when you play, you're thinking about it. But Luka Doncic had a calf. He missed about, I think, 12, 13 days. He ended up coming back fine. But Devin Booker, like he's itching to play right now, but you got to make sure that hamstring is 100%.
Hey, Luka's a dog.
He's a dog. He's a dog for sure.
He is a dog. He's a player. How old is Luka?
22.
23? 20?
What?
He's only 23?
Super young.
He's younger than Tatum. That's crazy.
Holy shit.
God.
So Ja?
23. I was right. Can we
Adam,
Let's go, Shams.
I mean, you cover the fucking league. He's one of the biggest stars. You should know how old he is, Shams. But I am happy that you know that. Ja, 22.
Yep.
Luka, 23.
Yep.
So I'm enough of the, Tatum's only 24.
Well, Tatum went
Enough
to
of
two.
that.
He went to 2 Eastern Conference Finals by the time he was 22. But
Celtics fan Connor, your question.
Yeah,
for Sean.
Shams, who gives a shit about all these other teams? When are the Celtics going to play next? If the Bucks win tonight, are we looking at like a Saturday, or do we have to wait for the first round to be completely finished before they start the second round?
All right, so I would look at anywhere from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's really the range. I don't think it would be Saturday. I would look at anywhere from Sunday to Tuesday for that game one against Boston.
They're going to cool off.
If the Bucks win tonight, I would
they're
look
going
at
to
it.
cool off.
Celtics are going to cool
Anywhere from
off.
Yeah,
Sunday to
right.
Tuesday.
Fresh legs.
They're going to cool off.
Fresh legs.
yeah.
Giannis is going to have to
Cold
score
legs.
80 points a game to beat the
Tatum's going to be
Celtics.
sleeping in the backseat just like Deuce was.
Tatum don't sleep because he's taking care of his son and he's taking care of his game.
By the way, I do appreciate how good of a fucking father it appears as Tatum is.
Yep.
But it's been hard.
Can we give it up to Jason Tatum? Like
Thank you, Shams. Fucking finally.
He's taking the next step. Yeah, yeah. Like he's taking the next step in his career defensively. The way he played on that end of the floor, and he learned a lot from Kyrie Irving. As much as that breakup happened, like he learned a lot from Kyrie Irving. He learned a lot from Kevin Durant playing with him at Team USA last year. And you're seeing him. He's blossoming. He's shining right before our eyes.
He is yoked.
Shredded.
I mean, he is a massive dude.
Huge.
A couple years ago, I seen a clip from him. Said, well, I'm going to hate this guy forever.
Little skinny.
But then I had to remember he's 22, 23 at the time. He's getting older.
Father.
He is fun to watch. He's a dog.
Dog.
I'm worried that the Celtics might be good for, too long of a time. Last question here, Shams. We appreciate you. Go ahead, Ty.
Shams, you going to be tipping picks again this year for the NFL draft, or what's your plan for Thursday night?
So a couple people have asked me that. Listen, I'm not saying anything on that situation right now. If it happens, it happens. Hopefully I don't have any NFL people upset at me if it does.
Well, I think all the NFL insiders, what have they said about Shams? We could do this too if we wanted to.
Yeah, Shams, if we want to break every
That's
NBA
what they
news.
always say. They couldn't though, Shams. They couldn't do it. If they could, they would.
Listen, people always have excuses, Like I just got my head down. I just got my head down. I'm staying busy, man.
What is he at? He's had big NFL leaks.
Sure. Huge NFL.
Political. He had presidential.
Massive, political league.
Political leak.
Yeah.
He knew Biden.
And he's
I'm just doing my job, Pat. I'm just here to do my job. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Well, we appreciate you, man. You do a great job. You might get fined for breaking the Steph news on this show.
Oh, yeah.
But we appreciate the hell out of you. Ladies and gentlemen, senior NBA insider for the Athletic and Stadium, man who knows all things happening around the association, Shams Charania.
Hey!
Steph's back starting.
Huge.
Unbelievable.
Huge.
Hey,
Hammer's
congrats
points.
to Steph.
Yeah, congrats, Steph.
What was that? What did you say?
Said Hammer's points. He had 33 off the bench.
Are we
last
going to go
game,
down
dude.
this road again?
What's that?
I saw it happen this morning.
What was it?
What?
Connor throws out a plus 500 bet. And you
No.
can't help.
Nope.
You can't even help yourself. Right to your phone.
I've been
I
hot.
put 500 on it.
Yeah, I've been hot. I
That
had
was
a
this
great,
morning.
I had
It
a
was a
great
plus
weekend.
500.
I had a great weekend. We're a little bit back. There's a chance we go back down the roller coaster
I think we
now.
have, but we have seen this before, and I feel like if you watch this show at all, you can tell what type of person I am. This was showcased on That's Hockey Talk. So on That's Hockey Talk, there used to be a trivia segment that would happen every single week. That's Hockey Talk tonight, by the way, 8 p.m. Eastern. YouTube.com/That's
Good
Hockey
plug.
Talk.
Thank you.
And I've always been this type of person. Literally, have always been this type of person. Trivia question was asked. Mike Rupper displayed all the confidence in the world that he knew the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, all the confidence in the world. I didn't agree with him. Gumpy didn't agree with him. But goddamn it, Rupper was very, very confident. Rupper is a Stanley Cup champion. I am very much a person like, all right, fuck, well, who am I to bring this guy down? I'm with you. I don't know the answer. I will ride with the person, and I'll gas them up, too. I will feel good about it. Because if that was to, hit, this will be awesome. Now, when it inevitably doesn't, if it doesn't, I have to then eat the loss as well on the other side of it. But I've always been that fuck it. If you like it, let's go do it type of person. It has got me into a lot of conversations, a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships. But with Connor, it has lost me a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of money. Because Connor does have that type of enthusiasm for literally every single bet that he has.
Yeah.
And it is almost taking advantage of the genetic traits that I have.
Yeah.
That are like, yeah, okay, I like this guy. He's not, all humans would like to do, right?
Sure.
If he's this confident, there has to be a fucking reason. I'm with you, dog.
Hell yeah.
And that's what I do. Hour 2 on Sirius will be on the other side of this 10-minute break. Hit it.
Got
Bang.
it.
Nailed it.
Got it.
Forgot it was happening. Got all tried. But yeah, I bet pretty heavily on a plus 500 bet this morning.
Yeah,
Steph
it's smart.
Curry.
35 points.
Steph Curry.
Come on.
Steph Curry, what are his bets right now? Can we look at those? Can we look at Steph Curry's right now?
Not to mention, I'm 4-0 in the last 4 Celtics
yeah.
games as far as bets go. So,
Just
not to
Celtics
brag.
money line, is that?
Yeah, Celtics money line.
Connor is one of more of the electric guys to ride a bet with, though.
Yeah, because there's always an excuse, there's always a reason, and then he has that short-term memory that like corners have to have.
Yep.
Immediately after the loss, now we ain't ever losing again.
Yep. Need another one.
Need another one. Feed me another plus 800. That feels good.
Steph, his over-under for the game is 27.5.
That's gonna move. Let's hit
Easy.
the over
To
on
score
that.
30, it is plus 126.
Easy.
35 is plus 290.
Easy.
Oh my god.
What's his 40 points? You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to 40.
is plus 800.
Boom. See you there. Put the village on it.
You'd have to think if they...
This is gonna change though as this news comes out, right? Like we have to get this right now.
Probably.
Because is that breaking news right there? The shot Steph's playing, or is that
so.
been elsewhere?
I haven't seen it anywhere else, but if they already have it at 27.5, they think he's playing quite a bit of minutes.
Yeah, he had 33 last game off the bench, and he started like 0-6. So just to think about, tonight if he comes out a little slow, don't worry.
I mean, plus 35 points, plus 290 for Steph. That feels,
Yeah.
If he
Feels
scores
awful
35.
tasty.
Absolute
especially
lock.
with Poole accepting or taking some of the defense.
Sure.
That's why I like the player performance double, because it's like, okay. If
What's the player performance double?
It's plus 400 for him.
What is?
For him. That's the one you already
is
bet.
a player performance double?
Yeah. What is
Oh, the bet itself. It's where it's like, for instance, for Steph Curry, it's like something happens during the game and the team wins. So Steph Curry to score 35 points and Golden State to win.
Okay.
It's plus 400.
it? Got it. Okay, so we want that.
Yeah.
Is that in there right now? Yes. Okay,
'Cause-
let's take that for sure.
Because if it's plus 290 for him to score 35, you got to assume.
All right. Look at us, by the way. This is a problem. All
Little
of
bit.
us are on our phone right now. Immediately okay, we just got news that nobody else has. How can we take advantage of this as
Gotta do
quickly
it.
as possible?
Who would we
Well-
be to not do it?
Yeah, and when the fucking odds makers are giving you bets that are only losers,
Losing.
then what are you supposed to do?
Hey, fuck you, John Sheeran.
Yeah.
This is on you too, though. You're acting like a satellite right now. You're taking Connor's information here and you're just spreading it
No, I'm
out to
taking
everybody.
Shams.
And
Yeah,
you're-
I'm
good
taking
info.
Shams' information.
It's good info.
Let's get to a break.
Jesus, Nikki.
We'll be back hour 2. I am very much, and that's just not like in betting or deciding thing. That's like if somebody wants to go do something and they're like super pumped about it. That sounds terrible, but let's fucking
do it.
Fuck it, I'm in.
If
You're
you
going to
want-
amplify it.
Yeah, if you want to go, let's go. I'll go. Always been like that. Has gotten me into some interesting situations. But I ain't never lost as much money as I've lost because of this trade with fucking you.
Don't worry. I'm actually, just because that game doesn't start till 10, Giannis 35 points. Plus 120.
All right, we're back in about 5-6 minutes. Hour 2. We have Joel Klatt joining us and AJ Hawk. Then in the third hour, Matt Ryan joins us live in the studio.
Hell yeah.
Plus your phone calls on the 5 Energy phone line, 1-833-4-McAfee. The Draft Spectacular is tomorrow night. Big giveaways, big guests, long show. Can't wait for it. We'll see you in 6. Yeah, dude, what am I supposed to do here? Fuck, dude. Like, what are we supposed to do? People should not tell me this stuff. They know they should. Can't do it. Our sources have told us that Mac Jones ain't going 3.
Oh my God.
I mean, it seems like Trey Lance is going at 3.
Draft odds changed dramatically.
Odds have just changed, by the way.
Before you went on air, Mac Jones was minus 270, I believe, and Trey Lance was plus 280. And now Trey Lance is plus 105.
The Mac Jones not going to the Niners news was just the tip of the iceberg with me and sources. Insert Jay Glazer at the first commercial break.
That's my Aaron. He asked to get out. Halftime with Aaron, that's a fucking big thing, man.
How the hell am I supposed to hold that in?
From what we've been potentially told, there's some things cooking. I've heard something's cooking right now, by the way. I don't know what's real and what isn't real. Come on! Something big! Huge! You got 2 hours and 19 minutes on it. Why?
But 3 hours later, guess what happened? Aaron Rodgers is on the move. Hashtag JNew, dude.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Rodgers is so disgruntled with Green Bay Packers that he has told some within the organization that he does not want to return to the team. Ty.
I mean, you alienate the fucking guy. No wonder he doesn't want to fucking come back. He's done. It's over. That's the end of it. Negligence from the top of the organization to the bottom. You got to do something. You had to do something. And they didn't do a goddamn thing. So I don't blame him.
I didn't know that's how that whole thing was going to come out. Me neither. I didn't know that was going to be it. That's the Packers definitely releasing that information.
1,000%.
Oh, yeah. And that's Aaron telling them, by the way, I ain't fucking coming back. Aaron probably was like, I ain't fucking coming back. So Green Bay probably trying to save tail here. Say, Schefter, we need you to write an article about how things are going right now from our point of view with Aaron Rodgers. He has all the cards.
Yeah, exactly.
He has all the cards. Imagine if he goes to a place where he has just as many weapons as everybody else and has a full organization that's like all the way behind him. They'll fucking win.
This is fucking insane.
And then finally, it becomes time for our biggest event of the year.
Hello and welcome to the second annual NFL Draft Spectacular. Yeah! Trey Lance, let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, I beat you, dude. You owe $20,000. Thanks for playing, Julio Jones is a Colt by the end of tonight.
You can't control him, can you?
Dan's lying. Dan, stop being a hater, Dan.
I mean, obviously, it's great competition. You know, not just Pat, though. You know, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, you know, Clyde, you know, all these guys.
There's always things that are taken out of context, but there's always things that maybe aren't. You never know.
JJ, you're the best. Hey, Mad Mel, dude.
Great to be back, AJ. Great to see you. Good to see you're still a sack of shit like you were last year.
Listen,
Chris. Hey, I've never worn a jock strap, but I've sniffed plenty of them, so I know what's going on with these players. Okay? I don't give a fuck. Who cares? I just want to eat. Zito, did we get that food order?
With boots on the ground in Cleveland, Jason Glazer. Jason Glazer, your thoughts?
Well, obviously, I knew this was going to happen. The only person who probably didn't know the how this was going to go here.
No, you have it in the studio.
That's when live you go.
Now, wait a minute.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And then let me talk. And then, no, you didn't.
Yeah. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
What if this works?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I had this. No, you didn't. I had this. I had it. Trust me. Can I talk, for Christ's sake?
Okay, fine, yeah.
There you go.
What? As we're live on the air, I look down at my phone and says, hey, $1 deal with SeatGeek just happened. SeatGeek is back.
We have some breaking news that literally just got texted to my phone, and I think it's because nobody had a clue that 131,000 fucking people are potentially going to be watching this far into the thing. SeatGeek's back! Yeah. And if you use hashtag Draft Spectacular and hashtag SeatGeek is back, they will pick a winner and will get you 2 season tickets to your favorite NFL team.
Holy shit!
I cannot believe the Draft Spectacular was as big as it was.
There's 100,000. What are you doing, people? Let's go! Yeah! 100,000 people!
We are so thankful. It fucking caused a firestorm with the amount of people that watched them. Articles written by these marketing nerds and their little community tech people saying, hey, this is the dawn of a new day. This is why SeatGeek survives. You watch the thing, you're like, man, this is pretty big. Probably get in on this. We appreciate that, dude.
Oh, you're going to get articles written about you tomorrow.
I want to tell you a story about a young man who once had a gambling problem, perhaps, before all these FanDuel sports books. The greatest app, the greatest place to gamble existed. There were bookies, there were illegal gambling rings, and one time, yes, I was part of one, and I could not pay my bill per se. I broke my legs. But now, because of FanDuel Sportsbook, they saved my life. That's why I will always gamble with the #1 sportsbook in America, FanDuel Sportsbook.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to that show. Hour 2 on this glorious Draft Spectacular Eve, Wednesday, April 27th, 2022 shall begin right now. Yeah! This hour will obviously have the toxic table at Ty Schmidt and at Boston Connors. Beautiful brains spilling into the microphones.
Sounds good. Glad to be here.
Hey, great to see you guys. Can't wait for the Draft Spectacular tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Neither can we.
And obviously this hour will feature a cowboy of sorts, a man who loves the draft, whether or not we had the spectacular or not, a good gambler, a championship gambler.
True.
One half of the hammer, Dahn. Cowboys, Tone Diggs. How you doing, Tone?
How you doing?
Hey. This hour will also have a first-time guest who will be joining us in about 10 minutes, Joel Klatt.
Let's go.
Rude boy.
How about it?
Shut up, Joel Klatt. So I was trying to figure out how to say his name there before we went on the air as we're coming live. And I think this is a Pan thing.
Sure.
Plaza thing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really get it right. Is it Bumba Klatt or Bumba Klatt?
Ladder.
Klatt.
Clap.
There's a difference.
Like, just
there?
make it clap.
Yeah. Make it clap.
Dun, 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 dun.
Just make it clap.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, you guys didn't do it right. That's the wrong clap.
I don't know if I've ever heard that.
Just make it clap. That's it, I believe.
I've never heard that.
Fucking
That's a
Busta
song. It
Rhymes,
was a good
dude.
song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
It was a great song back in the day.
Right.
Busta Rhymes had a run where he was fucking.
Sure.
Yeah, he used to go. And then he got all sorry. He started working out super.
Yeah.
Got yoked.
And then kind of slowed down, didn't have to do it anymore. And then he started hitting remixes on everybody. But there was a time where Busta Rhymes was just making bangers.
And that was one of them.
How come Busta Rhymes gets forgotten about in the whole
don't know.
conversation?
It's kind of
It's a
bullshit.
good question.
He stinks.
He had that.
Well, yeah.
Well, he had that moment with Zito.
Zito's
What
had personal
happened?
beef with him.
Zito and Busta did have a run in there, but that's
Like a T-Pain running?
Threw him through a wall. He
a little
put Zeke
worse.
through a wall.
Then he got physically touched by his
Whoa!
security. But Busta needed security because how big Busta was.
That's right.
Big boy.
Never gets talked about enough. Is Busta used to put out heaters. Anyways, so Klatt.
Klatt. Where's Gus?
Are the Island Boys going to fight one of the Pauls? Or maybe a tag team Pauls?
I seen them throwing their fists.
Absolute bombs.
Bombs.
They need to not fight anybody.
What?
Did you see the
For their
kick,
sake.
though?
Yeah, the little kick to the knee thing.
Yeah.
That'll kill
They cut
somebody.
their hair. Okay. They're doing their stuff. They're getting into boxing, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. People will pay for them to fight somebody.
Oh, yeah.
People will pay to
Oh,
watch them fight somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe they're sandbagging. That's why they're putting out those videos.
I thought they might have been sandbagging.
I honestly believe there's a chance that a lot of this generation has no clue how to throw a punch. Like
I think you're.
I believe there's a lot of Twitter fingers. There's a lot of, hey, we're not doing this in real life stuff, especially with the entire world we're at. I think there is a large portion of society nowadays that has no clue how to throw a punch because there's no way you put that video out if you didn't know that you didn't know how to throw a punch while putting it out there. But the Island Boys are chess players.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's that, Foxy?
We cannot give them that much credit. We give
Why is
people-
Foxy
we
such an
give
island
Foxy
boy?
credit.
Dude.
Not give the Island Boys that much credit. They're not that smart.
This guy thought that the Will Smith smack was fake, and now he wants to come at the fucking Island Boys for throwing
I never
bombs.
thought it was fake.
I will say Will Smith could throw a better punch than the Island Boys.
Sure.
I do know that.
Well, he
is-
played Ali. I mean, he has to be able
Which is
to.
why I wondered about his front foot in that smack, because he was not utilizing any sort of.
Highly suspect.
It's because
All I said is it could be fake.
You thought the Johnny Depp trial
Yeah,
was
he also thought Amber Heard took a shit on his bed just to get this to trial, just so they can fucking get some shit riled up.
Hey, it's good work. It's good work.
Great work.
That's a long
Good shit right
Life
there.
is WWE.
Yeah, life is wrestling.
I agree.
But there's some things you have to just,
Yeah.
think. Well, maybe they're just doofuses. And by the way, this has been a wild development for me too, Foxy. Okay, because I viewed the world just like you, and then I'm like, oh, you did it on purpose to make yourself look stupid or whatever. No, it was lit, right?
What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. All right, I misread the whole situation here. You are a fucking doofus. The Island Boys, though, I think they're working. I think that is
so, too.
sandbagging.
Yeah.
They're getting somebody to get comfortable in the fact that they don't know how to throw a punch, and then somebody's going to show up to fight them, and then all of a sudden, Island Boys going, pow, 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 bang. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking.
I think we
Tattoos are
should send
fake.
Mitt to fight him because Mitt would beat their ass.
Do you know why they were in that hot tub? Because they were recovering from their fucking boxing workout. Okay,
It's a cold tub. Everyone knows that.
that's what the pool right next to it was cold. They were actually flushing. They were trying to distract themselves from their entire muscle flush to get the lactic acids out of their legs because of their boxing training. They're like, Island Boy. Very much. They were tired, exhausted from the workout they went through. There's a chance that's true. So there's literally nothing you could say.
Why
about it.
aren't they in the studio though? They should be in the studio
should
making
be.
bands.
I've never seen them in a studio, right? Have we ever seen them?
No,
I've seen them in a shower. I've seen them in a hot tub. I've seen them boxing on a patio with a new
Food at a
haircut.
nightclub.
Yeah.
They already have crushed the music game. I think they're on to the next thing. They're just gonna-
Boxing.
yeah, dominate every industry one after the other.
Well, I do think they should have had a couple remix to the Island Boys.
I
thing.
agree.
Get AB on the track.
Well, they did do that remix
Now
to
we're-
Goofy Boys. Just fucking Goofy Boys. There's three of them.
On their cameo? Oh, yeah, they added in a
Yeah,
third.
they added
That's
a
right.
third.
That's their boxing trainer.
yeah, and he's yoked.
I think they're on Iron Chef next week too.
That'd be
so.
sick. Fucking Fridays, maybe.
Are you serious right now? I don't know what's a word.
You never
Island
know.
Boys and Morimoto.
Joining us now is a man who won the Iron Chef. He also beat Bobby Flay one time.
Hell yeah.
A college football champion, a Super Bowl champion, a Ryder Cup champion. A man who has zero respect for anything we do around here is
Points.
missing his third straight draft spectacular. The biggest fucking show we have every single year. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hall.
AJ.
Champion of saying fuck you to us, huh? Champion.
Good to be here. I mean, I'm glad I can slide into this Island Boys conversation. It was pretty riveting there watching online.
There was no way that was real. Those weren't real punches from that guy. There's no.
Oh, and yeah, they're setting a trap. They're setting a trap, and they're just waiting for a big name to walk in there and get knocked out.
I think so too. I think this is all
Vander
sandbagging.
Holyfield, they're probably going to challenge soon. He just had a fight like a year ago.
Vander Holyfield, he come on this show?
He was on this show.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good conversation. Fan of the show.
Yeah.
Fan of the program.
Why is Gumpy looking the way he's looking in the back there?
I don't know.
What's he looking like?
I assume it's terrible.
Gumpy. That was fake, though. Those weren't real punches out of them. And do you know the younger generation better?
Bombs. I mean, bombs. If he gets you into the corner.
Bro, it looked like the old school, like, hey, I'm going to do this. If you fucking get in front of me, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, that's-
How is the person not laughing who's filming?
Because that's their trainer, and he knows that they're just fucking around.
You cut it off before the kick.
Yeah,
too.
wait for the kick.
Bro, he'll throw him, though. Look, here comes the kick, I think.
Yeah, show him thunder, I think is what he says.
Give me a kick.
Oh, uppercut, like fucking Tyson Fury. This is not the kick. This is a different video.
Show him thunder, show him thunder.
Bro.
He didn't even telegraph that. That came out of nowhere, man. He's knocking you straight.
What? He just broke my fucking hand, he said.
That's what we do.
Yeah, we
He's not
fight
even
around
tired.
here. Bro,
Yeah.
you can cut a promo after.
No, when
Not
you're
even out of breath.
No, meth will do that.
What?
Tony.
Hey, we don't know if Island Boys are doing meth or not. They are in great physical condition,
True.
and meth does make you thin.
Yeah.
So maybe
Is
that is
that right?
accurate. They threw that dude just threw 200 punches.
Yeah.
They didn't cut a promo afterwards. And a
Unfazed.
kick.
Yeah. The core strength on those guys is absurd.
I mean, that was
Has Dana signed him yet to the UFC?
Jesus.
I don't know if Dana's ready. It's going to cost $25 million a pop.
What if Amanda Serrano, after selling out Madison Square Garden this weekend, she decides her next fight is going to be both Island Boys at the same time?
That'd be sweet.
I'd take all my money.
I would pay for that. I would pay for that.
Oh, yeah.
Jake Paul is already cooking that up. He's like, if these fucking idiots keep posting these boxing videos, I'm going to go ahead and have Serrano take them out one at a time. Boom. Full entrance for them both.
Yeah.
Full entrance for them both. Get to the ring, Serrano, bang, dead. And then the next one comes, I am mine, and bang, dead.
Staring at the sun.
I would buy that.
Yeah, absolutely. You sold me already. Like, that sounds amazing.
Okay, so that's what the champ
Here we go.
is doing
That's
after knocking out Katie Taylor at Madison Square Garden this week.
Now we have something to look forward to in the offseason. Fucking Island Boys versus Serrano.
Hey, Island Boys, you better keep swinging.
Yeah, keep fighting.
All right, let's talk about some of the news that's happening today, AJ.
This guy sucks.
Go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. There's really nothing. It is, AJ. It's been tough, dude. It has been very tough. All eyes are on the Draft Spectacular tomorrow night, and obviously, it is not a show you give a fuck about or care about at all.
Okay, yeah, my bad. When I get super active on social media, the only time of the year, so that shows you how serious I am.
No, we have to pay you to post those.
Yeah, just like Miller Lite.
Hey, by the way, I need that graphic because time is ticking. I got to put something together.
Throw it in the draft.
For real.
All eyes on Draft Spectacular, though. Aaron Rodgers will be joining us, AJ.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sweet.
Chris Ballard will be joining us live from the War Room.
Oh, here we go.
Do it.
Tom Telesco will be joining us.
Oh, Chargers
GM live from the War Room. Okay? This is the big thing this year. We're making bigger asks. We're asking for more from people. And in the past, would feel terrible doing that. Normally, in the past, this is how asks would go. Hey, I understand you're very busy and you got a lot of other things going on. It would be much better to do something else with your time than whatever you would be doing with us. But is there any chance you could join us? Just be 5-10 minutes of your time. And everybody's like, yeah, dude, no big deal. Come on. Chris Ballard came on every single year. This time, I'm like, how do I frame this? Well, letting them know that I think it's ridiculous that I'm even asking this. I think it's ridiculous that we're even at a point to be doing this. But I do think this would be super cool if you were to do that. So that's basically the message that I sent to everybody. Hey, this is what I'm thinking. Can you go live from the War Room? And we're probably going to ask you about what the fuck's going on in there as opposed to what's going on in the whole draft. And I think there's more, by the way. Those aren't the only three. I mean, there is more people joining us. Plenty. But it is, it's going to be, I'm very excited for it, AJ Hawk. I'm very pumped for tomorrow night.
Yeah, the fact that 2 active GMs that are going to be in the middle of the first round are going to call in. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It should be fun. I want to see where their minds are at the time too.
Yeah, us too, because we'll probably be a couple hours into it whenever we get in these people's war rooms. Probably a little loosey goosey, maybe a little boozy. I mean, who knows? And what if we bully one of these GMs into making a trade?
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be sweet.
Come on, do it.
Hey Tom, come on. Cool would be trade out there.
Trade Keenan down to the Packers.
Trade him to the Colts, Tom. Come on.
Yeah, tell them how you look like a genius because this is obviously going to be out there forever. This footage, so you're going to look very smart.
What?
Oh, AJ, see, that's the part of the message that I send to him. Like, hey,
what?
Our show is filled with idiots, so we apologize that you're going to be associated with this forever, but we do think it'd be pretty cool content, and we have more guests lined up and big giveaways. Feeling around the league is that the 49ers are listening to offers on Debo. Now, granted, Debo just put out a tweet, and I'm not 100% sure what it means or who he's taking a shot at. Might be taking a shot at us and all the people in the media world. He put out a tweet that basically saying that people are talking about his situation that don't have a clue what they're talking about. They're just talking about what other people are talking about. They're just basically nobody knows anything, and then he's saying, have a good one, basically. Have a good one. Because the conversation today is that the Jets are ready to make a very aggressive offer to the San Francisco 49ers to get Debo Samuel. Allegedly, Bob Saleh, big-time San Francisco 49er, like roots, knows Debo, knows how impressive Debo is in the AFC East. They were in on the Tyreek Hill trade, even though Tyreek ended up going to Miami. Akash Anaverathan is reporting that the feeling around the league is that the 49ers are listening to offers on Debo Samuel, and the Jets are going to put together such a massive package for Samuel that they won't be able to turn it Dahn. And that comes from Tony Pauline of Pro Football Network, I believe.
That's right.
So shout out to Tony Pauline, who's been in the news a couple different times. We don't know if it's real or if it's not real, but Tony Pauline speaking that good shit. The Jets are going to go all in on Deebo Samuel. Definitely a player that's worthy of such a thing. Well, the Niners listen. John Lynch just said the other day he can never imagine getting to a point where he'd want to move on from Deebo. He's such a good player. Is that him negotiating publicly with teams like, hey, you're going to have to bring a deal that is going to be worth big? We will not know. But good on the Jets if they end up getting Deebo, I guess, AJ.
Yeah, okay, so do we have any time frame on when this may happen, when this trade could happen, and are there other teams involved? Because obviously you want multiple people trying to bid on this.
Everybody says that the draft is the reason why a lot of things happen because there is active pieces to be able to be gained quickly. So everybody's assuming this is all going to happen during the draft time, but everybody's assuming that the Baker Mayfield stuff was going to happen during the draft or before the draft, and then reports are coming out. Wait until you see what happens with the first round. They might do this later in the week or next week or something like that. None of us know anything, and I'm sure Deebo Samuel is just reading alongside of it all and listening to his agent, Tory Dahn, who also reps A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf. It is quite an interesting situation. The draft always brings magical moments, magical memories, and big-time blockbuster moves. Speaking of big-time blockbuster situations, joining us for the first time ever, a man who is alongside Gus Johnson in the booth during the fall, and their booth is absolutely electrifying. Their booth makes the game feel bigger than the game is, and whenever they're calling a game, it is tough to turn it off. He will be on NFL Network all weekend like he always is as a draft analyst. Ladies and gentlemen, Joel Klatt. Yeah! What's up, Joel?
Oh, what's going on? That was quite the introduction. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, this is my first time getting to chat with you, getting to meet you, and having you on the show. Big fan of your work alongside Gus. You guys are an electrifying booth, a great booth, and I don't know how often you get told that, but you guys fucking kill it, man. We appreciate it.
Man, I first of all, I appreciate it. It's unbelievable working next to Gus. I love what we get to do. And last year was epic, man. We had so many great games, right? So it was fantastic.
Well, you do a great job. And now that we're at the draft, it feels like you get quite a head start, right? Because you get to meet with all these teams during the year. You're watching film all year. You're in it. You love college football, huh? Favorite of all time? NFL also a fan, or are you mostly just college football guy?
I love college football, man. I mean, like, listen, the NFL is great. The bottom line for me is that my dad was a high school football coach. I just love the sport. He was an ex-Marine. I've been around it my entire life. Yeah,
thanks for
there we go. I love that. I just love the sport. So I love coming to do the draft. I would love to do NFL games. I'm calling USFL games. I mean, listen, you get a game going in the park, I'll probably call it. Gus always tells me, he's like, you call games for free. And I was like, I probably would. And he's like, don't tell anybody that.
Bad business, Joel. But it's infectious,
right.
By the way. We can hear that in your voice. Go ahead, AJ.
Joel, when it comes to the draft this year, obviously, I feel like not a whole lot of people know like too much about all of these players in the top 5, top 10. Do you think, like, what do you think is going to happen now? We've heard a lot of different things happen, like in the top 3 picks. What do you think? What are you hearing right now?
I'm hearing a lot of momentum for Trayvon Walker at number 1, which I think sets up perfectly for Detroit to go like Aiden Hutchinson at number 2. And then I think what's really interesting is I've heard a lot of buzz that Houston might go Derek Stingley. I don't know how real that is. That might just be thrown out there because I think Ahmad Gardner is probably the best corner in the draft. But Stingley a couple of years ago, guys, like Stingley would have maybe been the number 1 pick in the draft a couple of years ago in the 2020 draft after the 19 season. He was definitely the top corner. And that was a freshman year that he was the best corner in college football and just couldn't come out into the draft. So I think that's a fascinating deal. He's had the injuries, obviously, and that was why, at least in my estimation, he struggled so much last year with that Liz Frank injury. But the fascinating part for me is if the Jaguars really take Walker at number 1, Detroit's going to run the pickup to the stage. Like, are you kidding me? They get like Michigan's favorite son at number 2 to stay home. Dan Campbell's like favorite player. Yes. I think that could be an interesting scene.
Okay, Joel, how do you pay attention to what's real and what isn't? Like, because I assume everybody out there is having the same conversations that we're having. What are you hearing? What are you hearing? What are you hearing? How long have you been covering this? And what should we be looking for that's real and what's mostly bullshit, you think?
Okay, so yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I go to people that I trust first and foremost. It's all about the people. So listen, like Peter Schrager's a great friend of mine. Jay Glazer's a great friend of mine. Those guys have accurate information. Those guys have the most up-to-date information.
Jay knew.
And they will tell you exactly what's going on about a pick, whether a team is trying to create a smoke screen or not, what, any of that. And generally what I will tell you is that the closer to the draft we get, the more outlandish the scenario, that's just smoke. That's just smoke. So even though I just brought it up, this huge Stingley, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it because it's like it hasn't been around the entire time during this whole process, and now all of a sudden we're going to get to Vegas. I'm sitting at Caesars. We're sitting out. I'm looking over the pool right now, and now all of a sudden Stingley is going to be the third pick. Like, come on.
Hey, that looked beautiful out there.
I don't buy that.
Well, it's been difficult for us because we don't have any of the sources. And if we do have sources, we refuse to text them because if we do, we potentially jeopardize our friendship with them. And they know that anything they say to us is going right into this microphone every single day. But every single draft.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you, Joel.
Hey, you got to start texting me, man. I'll just give you whatever I got.
Here we go.
Joel, I didn't know we were going to become texting friends. I'm pretty excited about this.
There you go.
Yes.
I can't wait to send you a text during the fall on a Saturday and be like, hey, really bringing the juice today.
Yeah.
All right,
Really
so, hey,
bringing.
legit story. My friends always say one of my favorite things to do is text my buddies during the game. You text me during a game, you're getting a response, no doubt.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna get inside information. Hey, we're gonna call you back right now, Joel. Our side just kind of dropped off internet-wise a little bit there. Joel's. How long's he been in the draft game? How long has Joel been in the draft game?
He's been calling games.
Hey, the guy loves ball, by the way.
Loves ball, do it for free.
High school football coach's dad, who's a Marine.
Ooh.
Oh my
He popped
God.
up right when FS1 came, was invented, basically. I think that's when he started doing TV, maybe.
Are you talking about like when Regis Philbin and them had that show?
Yeah, remember that?
yeah.
They had
Wants
that
to be a
show, yeah.
millionaire?
No. That was smashing success.
Yeah, ABC.
Because he played at Colorado for 2002, 2005, and then was with the Lions and Saints a little bit.
Yikes.
Because he was a minor league. He played baseball, so he was
Yeah.
28 in college, wasn't he?
Athlete.
What?
I think he was older. Yeah, he went and he got drafted, I think, in like the 12th round maybe, and played minor league baseball.
For a while.
Oh, Joel's a dude. Of course he's a dude.
Holy shit.
It makes sense he's a dude. He's not on it. Fox is giving me a big thumbs down. Thought we had him. We don't have him. He's out at Caesars living life by the pool.
Good.
Yeah.
Can't get a good connection. Yeah, good for him, man. That looked beautiful. Did you see that backdrop? That looked very, very nice.
Oh, yeah. I've seen all the other media members that look sweet.
Is that the same hotel Rapport's in?
No, he is at
Bellagio?
Cosmo. No, he's at the
Cosmo?
They need to hide the booze.
Yeah, jeez.
How's Rapport going to be in Vegas for 5 days?
Especially the Cosmo. That's a great
Cosmo's
hotel.
where we stayed. And
Oh, yeah, Cosmo's a good time. We were there when the shooting happened.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we were told to stay. Everybody was told to stay in their rooms or whatever. Right around brunch time, we weren't allowed to leave our rooms. Obviously, a bunch of outlaws didn't do that. Went down the stairs and then through the kitchen, got out of there. But there was a full active shooting in the hotel whenever we were there. It was wild.
Oh, not the big concert one.
No.
Okay.
Where was that? That was outside next to what hotel was that?
I don't know.
Was he in
I don't think
Mandalay
that was
Bay maybe?
Yeah, I don't think that was the Cosmo.
No, it wasn't.
Mandalay Bay. Psh, sad situation.
Yeah.
Vegas. Back to Vegas. The man joining us who played, minor league baseball. Then he ended up playing in Colorado. Absolute stud of a man. His dad was a head high school football coach and a Marine.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man will call games for free, but he should get paid a lot more than he already does. I don't know what he's getting paid whenever he's next to Gus Johnson. This week, he'll be covering the draft on NFL Network. Ladies and gentlemen, Joel Klatt.
Yeah, Joel!
No, it's worse.
Oh, no.
No.
All right, well, that was a good call. I mean, we had a good call with Joel.
Yeah, he's the man.
Hey, the thing, he told us Derek Stingley's happening, and then he said also, probably not.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Probably not.
That was good. I like that. I like that. In real time, we got to see it.
Yeah, I enjoy that as well because if you, we try to cover this accurately because we have to speak about it, but everybody knows we're going to be wrong. Because whenever you do a daily show, you have to ride literally the waves of information that is breaking on a daily basis. Kind of an interesting life turn because I used to do Twitter a lot Used to do Twitter a lot. Still do Twitter a lot, but I used to do Twitter a lot. In like the old Takes Exposed thing.
Yeah.
I used to love this. I used to love this. Like, what a doofus, what a fool. Now that we do like the Daily Show thing where we speak for 3.5 hours, and we're choosing to do this, we're lucky to do this. Boy, you can get caught up. You can get caught up because what is happening right now might be vastly different than what's happening just an hour from now because the insiders and the information that gets leaked is so much bullshit. The draft is filled with it. The most amount of bullshit is around the draft because there's, billions and billions of dollars at stake for each franchise. And if they really like somebody, they're going to try their absolute best to get that person without everybody else getting it. And that might call for some terrible stories being leaked about the person. That might call for some lying about who they like. They might actually stay away from somebody as long as they possibly can so that nobody knows that they're interested, so that nobody else will take them. It is just, if you start overthinking it, which I assume some of these teams do, there's just so many levels to all of the bullshit that the draft brings.
Well, and usually, at least most teams, there's so few people that actually know what your plan is or what you're going to do. Yeah, like the GM will have the scouts put all the reports together. He'll listen to them. They'll talk. But then the scouts usually don't really know. There may be, if you're the GM, how many people are you going to tell, Pat? Like, how many people do you think you could trust that they're not going to say something to somebody?
So Kevin Costner told nobody.
That's right.
And that's really the only example I have. Who was on the show yesterday that said if a billionaire comes in, though, on draft day and says, I want, boom, guess what? That's probably
Charles Davis, yeah.
Yeah, Charles Davis said if a billionaire walks into the room and says, I don't know what y'all been doing for the last 4 or 5 months or whatever, and I don't really care. I synced this dude's highlights on NFL Network just yesterday. Give me fucking Thibodeau.
Nah.
That changes everything. That changes literally everything just like that.
The whole first round, the whole draft. That's what's cool. Like a guy, some wild card owner could change what the whole draft looks like.
Or a general manager just wakes up with a bad feeling and is like, hey, we need to change what we were thinking. We're actually going to do this now because of my final thoughts or whatever. Like when push comes to shove and a decision has to be made, I assume the people that are making the decisions might not even fucking know what they're doing until like, hey, let's do Belichick with Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to say they planned that. They did that on purpose. They knew that Mac Jones was going to be available. If you watch the video, Bill did not know Mac was going to be available. I think he's like folding up a piece of gum or candy, and he's like standing, if I remember the video right, and he's like looking around the room, and he's like, I guess we got to fucking...
Guess we'll take him.
I guess we got to take this guy. Nick loved him.
Yeah, I love
Billy
Nick.
O'Brien loved him. Yeah. I mean, literally everybody we've ever worked with loves this guy. We don't really have a quarterback.
He caught a pass at his pro day.
Fuck.
Then Patricia co-signed, and they did it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He has Kraft first. I think did he ask Kraft first, then McDaniels, then Patricia? Or was it, I think it was McDaniels, then Kraft, and then Patricia.
And that old guy who sits in the box.
Ernie.
Yeah.
Hey, he's not just an old guy who sits in the box.
I forgot his name.
He's one of the founding fathers of football.
That's the only way I know how to describe him.
You remember Irsay, too, giving Ballard that little suggestion.
Oh, about Jonathan Taylor.
Don't you love Jonathan Taylor?
Don't you fucking love this?
You love that guy, didn't you?
What are we waiting for? And then Ballard trades up to go get the guy. Like Jim Irsay's just sitting there, because they have that with the next pick, I believe is what their series called. Somebody else's series called On the Clock. Every social media department is putting together great footage of their team and their scouts and their GMs preparing for the draft, and also live in the war room, which I think is why maybe we're able to do it with a couple people, because they have filmed in the war room in the past, but they got to blur out. They got to blur out all that shit. But Jim Irsay just sitting there casually, just hanging out. And then all of a sudden, I think Jim just realized, like, hey, I fucking love that Jonathan Taylor guy, too. He ran all over my stadium whenever he was in there. Hey, Chris, what are we doing? And then Chris was probably like, we're just waiting on the right guy. We like a guy. And then he moves up. When the clock is on and there's a player on the board, anything can happen I think there's some places that are much more calculated than others, and they probably, they go about their decision-making process differently, where they probably have it like tonight or tomorrow morning. Here's our 4. Here's the order of our 4. Whoever's available, we're just going to take, and they're done. I like the thought, though, of it being fluid. I like the thought of, like, in that room coming alive and be like, we did not know this person was going to be available. I know we like this person, but we had no idea they were going to be available. How do we compare them again? I like the thought of it being like a Wall Street trader, and I don't know if it's like that at all.
Them being surprised or shocked, like say you're the 15th pick, and all of a sudden 14 does something that you really didn't envision. You didn't have like a fake mock draft where they took this person or they did something or some trade happens, and then all of a sudden you have 15 minutes and you're not really sure, okay, we have a couple options, but someone's got to pull the trigger.
And I'm only saying 10 minutes because we reported 15 minutes yesterday like 45 times, and then we realized yesterday after the show that it's only 10. So you're not wrong. We were all wrong, but we realized it's 10. And that helps us, especially if Jacksonville doesn't take Aiden Hutchinson and DC runs to the thing. That saves us 10 minutes on the Draft Spectacular. You remember? Because this thing's 6 hours long.
I'm happy to be wrong that it's not 15.
Yes, so are we, by the way. Yeah, that was a big Zito.
It used to be 15.
Yeah, Zito actually came and he said 10. And we said, excuse me? And he was like, 10 minutes in between draft picks. Everybody was like, yeah, go. Yes, all right, that's good news. It feels like it's 40 sometimes, though. Go ahead, Dix.
To your point about how GMs and coaches, and they all do it differently or whatever, Tomlin and Colbert were saying the other day that they stopped doing mock drafts. They just stopped trying to mock what other teams were going to do. And they said, like, they just have 20 guys. And whoever is still left at 20 when they're still there, that's who they're going to take.
Fascinating.
That's smart. Because they
a
showed
lot of guys.
And they showed a video of Rule trying to do that, and he wrote like, and this was last year, granted, when they still needed a QB, and they wrote Mac Jones or Trey Lance at 3, and they almost like ruled those guys out. It seemed like, and by the time it got to them, obviously Fields and Mac were still there.
So there's also stories of having your pick ready and then the pick right in front of you.
Snags it.
Takes the person, and I think that's why Jim told Chris like, hey, if we like Jonathan Taylor, is going to be an MVP in 2 years. By the way. If we like Jonathan Taylor, why are we even waiting 3 picks? Why are we even waiting 4 picks? If it's only going to cost us a fucking 7 or something to do this, let's go do this now, because the amount of times that people get their heart broke with the pick before, I guess there's a couple rumors floating around the Colts building a couple different times that when the draft, when we drafted T.Y. Hilton or whatever, I guess he was not going to be the pick. The team right before, though, drafted who they had, and they were ready and excited, like, hey, this guy's going to take it. Allegedly. I don't know if any of this is true. Didn't hear from anybody in the room. This is just what was talked about basically around the building by people that have been around a long time. So take that out of view. Right before that pick, they take who it is, and it's devastating. Everybody's like, oh my God, oh shit, we're fucked. And that's the first draft for that regime or whatever. And I think it was Bruce Arians or something. And Bruce Arians said, how about that T.Y. Hilton guy down there? We can fucking fly around with him or whatever. And they drafted him, and nobody expected him, I think, to get drafted that high or to the Indianapolis Colts. And then, like, that next year, dominated. Year after that, he's in the Pro Bowl, I think. Year after that, he's in the Pro Bowl. He's in the Pro Bowl. So it's like that whole, the thing of somebody being available that you didn't know was going to be available, certainly alluring. The thought of a team just losing the guy that they had, though, just 30 seconds before. And what if that person goes on to become the greatest player of all time? You're like, oh my fucking God.
And you were on him, and you were on him from day one. Like, they knew 2 years before, hey, if we get a chance, this is our dude. We're going to take him. Then boom, they take him right in front of you. Maybe even someone you know on the team in front of you just did it to spite you because it didn't like you that much.
Yeah.
They knew how much you loved that person.
And he could have traded a 7th rounder next year to move up in front of that team and get that person. And instead you didn't. It's like, I think there's a lot of those stories as well around the NFL.
And then, like you mentioned, the other side of it is like when, a couple years ago, the Eagles don't take Justin Jefferson, and you see the guys in the Vikings war room just basically scrapping everything they were doing because they didn't think there was any way Justin Jefferson was going to be there at, 22 or wherever they got him.
And then didn't Philly, they laughed at Philly.
Right. Yeah,
they laughed.
Because they took
Rager instead, yeah.
They laughed. It's on foot. Oh, my God. We get Justin Jefferson here. What a day. I hope, as we continue to be in a very transparent era, it feels like we're seeing more than we ever have in content. I hope those situations continue to happen, because think about what NFL films will do with all these when they go into the Hall of Fame, like 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
All the footage that we have now from the team shooting stuff, film shooting stuff, us having interviews with Tom Telesco, like the amount of content that's going to be able to be curated later is just amazing. It is unbelievable. It's so much different than the past.
To your point on like the missing out on the guy you've wanted forever and stuff like that, DJ, when we had him on last time, he was a scout for the Ravens. He's like, we knew exactly who the Browns were going to take. We knew exactly who the Steelers were going to take because they played the same defense, the same schemes or whatever. So like, and you'll see it in the draft because I pay attention most. Like the Ravens will always like jump 1 or 2 ahead of the Steelers, or they'll do the same thing because they always want similar guys and they don't want that guy to go in the division and stuff like that.
I wonder so the Colts traded up to pick 222. They had like pick 2 not that many far after because there's not that many picks afterwards. I was staring down Mr. Irrelevant, allegedly, potentially to Kansas City, by the way. I wonder who the Colts thought were going to take me. Why they traded up for whatever it was to pick 222 with the Eagles. Huh. That's because nobody I had heard from was in that area at all. So I like that. I literally just thought about that for the first time, and that's probably not good. That's probably
what was that, 2009?
Jesus Christ!
That's Telesco tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was a part of the entire process.
Yeah. And we're talking about sometimes teams who are back-to-back just like, they have two guys like Telesco with Tua and Herbert. They're like, hey, who gives a fuck? We're going to get one of them. Whoever gets picked before, we'll take the other one.
Yeah, that's like the Tomlin Colbert thing. Go ahead, go through the...
Houston was sitting at 223. Maybe they didn't want to lose you in...
No, Houston would have had, at the time, they had this young
San Diego was 224. Then Denver, and then AQ went to Steelers at 226.
Maybe Pittsburgh. They might have thought Pittsburgh.
Because, yeah.
We had to settle for the big bald stooge instead.
Who?
AQ Shipley. AQ Shipley.
Oh, I thought you said big ball stooge, like a different punter.
Hey, Andrew Brandt told the story of you getting drafted in an article. Mm-hmm. Is that right, Nick? Andrew Brandt told the story?
Yes.
The article was written years ago.
Yeah, a piece he did for SI.
But he re-quote tweeted it because he was like, hey, to those who are new to the Andrew Brandt train, basically, here's something I wrote for fucking Sports Illustrated years ago, which is pretty cool. I did not know he was a writer for Sports Illustrated.
Oh, yeah.
He's talented every time we talk to him. Seems to be an incredibly cool guy. And on the internet, he goes about his business in a respectful fashion, I think.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Doesn't seem to, be too alarming or ridiculous. He wrote about your draft story about how, normally the first round picks, they get flown out. He said upon landing, you got a realtor and you bought a house within like 4 hours of being there or whatever, and the whole thing got done. He did not mention you had to drive an hour and a half to the airport to fly to Green Bay, flying coach and in the middle seat. He did not mention that. But when you look back on your draft day, dream come true, everything went exactly how you expected and planned. And did you buy a house the same day you were drafted on your first flight out to Green Bay?
No, it's funny how those stories, that reminds me of that when people said that. But no, my wife came with me, and I was in the facility for a day and a half, whatever. So she went and looked at houses all around, and then we didn't buy a house. But we found one that we definitely wanted, and we got one pretty early because then we took off and got there pretty quick. But yeah, I wanted to go to Green Bay. Like that was the team I wanted to pick me, honestly.
So you didn't answer that question. So
what?
This guy.
We did not buy a house 4 hours in.
Okay.
But we definitely found one that I'm very decisive. My wife is too. She went and looked at a bunch while I was in the facility for a day and a half. And then she said, okay, I know what you like. We've narrowed it down to like 3. And I said, that one. And she did too. And we bought it eventually.
Well, congratulations.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Was the first piece of art in that house the split jersey?
Yeah.
It's never been in our house.
Bullshit.
She told me it was in the basement.
I'd put it up, in her mom's basement, not ours.
Oh,
Sure.
That is amazing. I love that. Like that obviously triggered you right there.
No, I would put it up. I don't mind it.
No, I'm not talking about the jersey. The jersey triggers, I believe, your wife. So I apologize for that.
Oh, yeah.
For this entire thing, like the other day, what were we talking about that he got all pissed off?
Food.
Yeah,
Food.
He was all pissed off. And then Bobby Carpenter comes on next day. He's like, for the last 20 years, we've been on about it. It's like, oh, yeah, we could tell by that whole thing. This whole you bought a house 4 hours into. You've heard this story before because it was in Sports Illustrated.
Yep.
And you're like, that is not true, Andrew.
Funny how these stories.
Damn it. Yeah, you're tired.
We bought a house quick, though. It was quick.
And your wife, designer at the time, too?
No, not really. She started a few years after that.
Oh, was that the first house? Was that the genesis of the mogul that was
Holy shit.
interior designer Laura Hawk?
No, I don't know. I'm sure. I mean, she did the whole house. Yeah.
Don't know.
Hey,
Maybe that planted
probably.
the seed in her brain.
Hey, is she like one of the top in the world?
I don't know how you rank people. She has plenty of work. Yeah,
Well, her Rolodex, right? That would probably be. I think her Rolodex of the people that we have heard of that she's worked with is very
Top tier, right?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
your wife might. Have you ever thought about that? Do you guys talk about that? No, is she one of the top interior designers on earth right now?
No, I don't think there are like ranking systems. I
there are.
think she is. Yeah, if I bought a house, I would have her do it.
HGTV has power rankings. She's probably on it.
Think about this house. Think about this family. I mean, Brady Quinn.
Yep.
AJ Hawk. Top interior designer in the fucking world almost.
Yeah. Chopper.
The goddamn Chopper Bopper building houses.
Yeah. Just got a new knee, by the way, like 2 days ago.
Had a baby Chopper. Probably working today.
Yeah.
Probably working today, Ben Simmons. Chopper.
I went over when 6 hours after he woke up. He was doing deep squats and kicking his leg in the air.
Exactly.
Legend.
Awesome. He'd be on the court tonight if it was game 4.
Yeah.
Anyways, that hockey dude's in this family.
Yeah.
That's right.
Alicia Sacramone.
Yeah.
Gymnast, United States, Olympian.
Yeah, Olympian.
She's
Gold medalist, I
She's in
believe.
the family.
What the fuck is going on over there? Good for your family, pal.
Yeah, and Brady's sister was like Gatorade Player of the Year in high school soccer player. Played at Virginia, but she tore like her ACL 9 times.
9 times. She kept
Centerville
playing.
legend.
What a savage.
Hey.
Ryan Hawk.
Tear your ACL 9 times, stand up 10. That's what his sister-in-law is doing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable. Wow. Good
Just
for
read
your-
a couple articles. She is top notch.
Laura?
Yeah.
No, she is top
no
notch.
article.
But is she perceived as?
That's what I'm saying.
No
Yeah.
article.
Just read.
He read a couple tweets.
Yeah.
Hey, really short articles, about 140, 280 characters.
Yeah.
Really. I read like 4 articles real quick. Hey, what's Elon going to do with Twitter? I saw a fake tweet that it was an Elon tweet. It was a fake tweet that said, I bought Twitter so I could delete it. Go outside and enjoy your lives. And I was like, fuck, what if he did?
Oh, no.
I was like, what if Elon? I know it showed up on my timeline. And, with everything on the internet, you always assume it's bullshit. But there has to be a little bit of I did a little research. I'm like, wait a minute, what if?
Yeah.
Because what if he did?
That'd be a lot
Too
of
expensive.
money. That'd be a
46
lot of money.
billion to delete an app.
It's like the tweet.
think
Did you
Elon
see?
gives a
Have you
fuck?
seen it though, Pat?
What's that?
I thought you were one of the people that said like, "Oh, instead of spending $44 billion to buy Twitter, he could have solved world hunger or something like that."
yeah.
And I'm thinking, this wasn't a $44 billion donation, bud. Like he plans on making money from Twitter.
Yeah, it's a business decision. It's a business decision. And, there's different buckets of money, and it is hard to comprehend sometimes why this amount of trillions is in this bucket and then there isn't an equal amount in this particular bucket. But whenever people say, well, take that and put it here, it's like, well, there's an entire allocation of money system and bucket. It's all bullshit. It could be expedited, but that is vastly different monies. It doesn't make sense, though, that whole thing, what you just talked about, when it comes to like the government's monies.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Not to mention the government's debts as well. It's just
Well, yeah,
nuts.
but the government's so good with our fucking money. Listen, okay, I don't care which side of the plate you were on in this entire thing. You should not be pro taxes, okay? You should not. Everybody should pay their fair share. Everybody should absolutely pay their fair share. And the people that don't, fuck them. They're much smarter than us because I feel like I'm helping out. I would rather be forced to donate that money myself, though. Like if you're pro-tax, not pro-tax, I feel like there should be like buckets in which you could pick where you give the money to. Like that, I feel like that would be something. Instead, the government takes it to make their own decisions. And yeah, I'm sure it's going to the right place. Seems like it's going to the right place all the time. You know what I mean, AJ?
Yeah, it seems like it'd be an easy system to put in there, right? Though, if we get to pick where our money goes, where our tax money goes, like we can allocate it all.
Yeah, it'd be no problem at all.
I would love to have everybody's opinion.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great.
Why not?
The world would be such a much better place, though.
Yeah.
Each individual choice of who you donate to or where it goes to, you're making that individual thing better. It's like, hey, why don't you guys deal with the money that you're printing off for like the military and shit that we can't figure out, and then anything else that you want to do, and let us figure out where we're donating this money to. But then the issue becomes, obviously, the super billionaires who have all the incredible lawyers and accountants, they'll just start opening those things. Those will become things that you could donate to, and they'll be forcing people somehow to donate into theirs, and they'd be getting other people's taxes along with their own.
That's right.
Because humans are the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Why does it have to have, everything has to be so goddamn confusing?
It's not fair.
Which leads me to the draft. Let's go to the phones. What is going to happen tomorrow night, AJ?
Chaos, for sure.
Maybe.
Are you think? Last night I was torn. Couldn't sleep last night. I was torn on this.
Hey, do you think a quarterback goes in the top 12?
I don't know. Diggs had a stat earlier. If he doesn't go in the top 3, he won't go until like 17 or something. Like that.
It was. I remember. I forget the exact, but it was either top 3 or bottom half.
Yeah.
That's the first quarterback taken. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be okay.
Yeah.
Half a dozen.
Yeah.
12, yeah. Actually, perfect metaphor for that situation right there. Shout out. Give a fucking sports Emmy to that. 17, half the odds. Yeah, yeah. I feel real good about that quick math.
should.
there.
You
Yeah,
should.
I feel solid about that. But anyways, if they don't go top 3, they're going to go late, allegedly. But then, if they go late, we have to remember that what was being said a month and a half ago is the most accurate information as opposed to what's being said after free agency. Because remember, these quarterbacks were not first roundable. Remember, they were looking at these quarterbacks, that's a fucking third rounder right there. That's a fourth rounder right there. Who the fuck are you? Why is the Liberty guy being talked about right now? Then now all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe 4 of them go. Maybe Desmond Ridder and Corral and Malik and Kenny Pickett and
Carson Strong.
Of course. Maybe they all go because it's a quarterback driven league. It's like, I honestly have no idea how this is going to go. Last night, and I try not to overthink anything, and I think it's pretty apparent whenever you hear me speak or operate. I try not to overthink much. It's just like, hey, what's the right move? I've been thinking about this draft spectacular a lot the last few days. I am so intrigued on how it goes because this could be a fucking boring 6 hours, boys.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a good chance we don't know anything. We barely know the guys that are going to go top 5. How the hell are we going to figure out the other 27? A guy was said yesterday in Mitt's mock to go to the Packers or the Patriots or something like that. Never heard of the human before in my life, AJ. I had no idea this person existed. Going in the first round, pick 30. There's going to be 15 to 20 of those for us tomorrow, I think. I think there's going to be a lot of learning about guys tomorrow night for about all of us. And I can't wait to see the bullshit that comes out and what we learn and judge about each one of these. Because that's what happens. People judge the draft pick immediately upon it happening. And it's like, we have no fucking clue.
Who won the first round? Like, that'll be out by 1 a.m.
And it'll be taken seriously.
Yeah. And then they can argue. You can argue with your buddies on which team won the first round. Like, oh, we didn't even have a pick, so we didn't lose, bud. Sorry.
It's beautiful for hypothetical
Oh, yeah.
situations.
I mean, the draft as a whole.
6 hours. What are you talking about?
Dude, it's going to be 350 minutes. You just start doing the math.
Well, how many? Okay, what is it slated for on like ESPN? What does it say on your guide or whatever?
Bro, they actually just put like the ... thing.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock till 8 a.m. the next day.
Yeah. Till question mark at the end of a party?
Yeah, it is indefinitely, it actually says. It just says indefinitely. It's actually blocked out into Friday.
Yeah.
They don't even have Get Up on the ESPN thing on Friday morning.
No.
It is still first round of NFL draft.
Yeah.
Because there's, never know what's going to happen.
Well, I think they did used to block it like 8 to 11.
Yeah.
And then like the first time they did that, it was still going on at like 1:30. They're okay, we can't fucking do this again. All right, we're just lying to people here. So I think it at the very least, it's probably 8 to midnight, but it might just 8 to 8.
Do you remember how startled we were year one? 3.5 hours into that thing, and there was still 16 picks left.
Rattled.
And who the fuck decided to do this? Like, that is all I'm thinking about. Is this a lot of airtime we're about to have tomorrow night?
I remember about halfway into that first round, or maybe even a little over halfway. I'm like, okay, this has been really fun. This is cool. All right. It's kind of winding down. And then I started thinking, I got a little bit overwhelmed thinking this is absolutely not winding down at all.
Middle of the marathon. I mean, CFO Phil's got an actual marathon this Sunday.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Go get him, Phil.
That's this Sunday. Phil's been training for a long time. He almost died in Hollywood when we were out there for the Super Bowl training on the mountains. He was out there with the mountain lions.
Dog bit him too.
Yeah, he got bit by a chihuahua.
Yeah, little fucker.
And we all know what happened last marathon CFO Phil ran. We do not have to revisit that because it's positive vibes only.
That's right.
But we are excited for CFO Phil to finish his first marathon.
Good luck,
Can't
Phil.
wait.
Good luck, Phil.
Go get him, Phil.
Let's go, Phil.
We're going to finish this.
Hey, you don't need to win it, Phil.
No.
Jeez. Everybody send a tweet to CFO Phil at Phil Maines and say, hey, you don't need to win the fucking marathon.
I'd like to track him. Can I track him?
Yes, you can. And actually, the last time he ran a marathon, he had a friend in Indiana that was tracking him. And then all of a sudden, there was no more tracking, and there was no response for a couple hours. And it was, oh my God, this guy fucking died.
Yeah.
Where is Phil? And turns out he almost did. It was like, the guy was way ahead of schedule, though, because I was talking to him before the marathon. And I'm like, what's the pace? Where are you going to be or whatever? And then you can watch along on the internet. And it's like, he is taking a vastly different.
He's trying to win.
He was like, I think he had like 6-minute miles, like going into like, I think he was still like at 7-minute miles, like probably 14, 15 miles in or whatever. And it's like, who's this guy? What are you trying to prove?
Your body's going to shut down.
And it did. I believe it did.
Though.
Yeah, he got the whole thing. So this time he's going to fucking beat Pittsburgh.
Hell yeah.
Let's go, Phil.
Hell yeah.
I'm so proud of Phil. I'm excited for Phil. He's put a lot of work into this. I'm assuming what he's going to do to his body Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe into Friday is going to be fantastic after marathon training. But I'm proud of him. Our marathon's tomorrow night.
That's right. Boom.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, and it's with our jaws and our mouths.
Yeah.
And although it is not going to be 26 miles running or walking, it is going to be 26 miles of talking. And we have to remember that. And we don't know where the road's going to go.
No.
There's been no training course for this.
No.
We could have learned the players' names, but who knows if they're the players that are going to go in the first round. So why would we be studying fake names, AJ?
Might drop.
Makes sense.
I just remembered the first draft spectacular too. I think we started at like 7, maybe even 6:30.
That's a bad idea.
So this one starts at 8, right?
Goddamn right it does.
Yeah.
What time did it end last year? 12:30?
12:30. That was
it?
last year.
I remember I drove to the Derby right afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you psycho.
Oh, my
That was
God.
tough. That was a tough one.
Well, it ended at 12:30, and the first 4 picks took like 20 minutes, I think.
Are you going to the Derby this
week?
week or no?
No, is it this week?
No, it's next week.
No, I'm not going.
It's Mother's Day weekend, which I believe is next week.
You're not going?
No, Mother's Day is this Sunday, I think, right?
it's
No,
not.
next Sunday.
weekend.
Are you sure?
Jesus, come on.
I'll check on this.
Good
I'll
son
figure
you
it out.
are. You
I'm
son of a
positive.
bitch.
Why are you not
Hey, for
going,
real, no, because
AJ?
Father's Day is coming up too.
That's in June.
That's in June, dude. What are you talking about?
So you're telling me this Sunday is not Mother's Day?
No.
Just check my calendar.
Next Sunday.
That is May 8th.
May
is Mother's
8th.
Day.
Next
No
Sunday.
wonder you
I'm
couldn't
so
get here
prepared.
for the
I'm always
draft,
prepared.
dude.
This dude's a week in advance prepared for Mother's Day. What a fucking guy.
Hey,
for you,
way to go,
AJ. Way to go.
Same
Superhero.
weekend as the Derby.
Oh, man. Why aren't you going to the Derby? Because Mother's Day, obviously.
Oh yeah, Mother's Day's too important for me.
You should have taken your mom to the Derby then.
Yeah.
She would love that.
A lot of walking at the Derby.
A lot of walking.
Yikes.
A lot of walking at the Derby.
No thanks.
Hour 2 wrapping up. Big thanks to Joel Klatt. We got to get him back on whenever either our service or his is better.
Yeah, Vegas is too tough.
He's awesome, though.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going to be friends like that.
He loves college football.
Loves football in general.
Yeah.
Said he'd call the NFL if they let him. Just loves football as a whole. Hopefully we'll get to chat with him again. Maybe next week. Maybe next
Here we
week.
go.
I'm going to watch his USFL games.
All right.
Have fun.
Me too. I want that league to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an XFL guy.
I think I am.
Me too.
We're back in about 10 with hour 3 on the other side. Cheers. Oh, fuck. I didn't tease Matt Ryan's going to be in studio. That's bad hosting.
Oh, I forgot.
I meant to ask, but you get mad when I do.
Well, there was time running, and then we were talking about something, and it kind of showed up.
They'll be back after the commercial break.
Is he here at 2?
I doubt it's a fucking 10-minute commercial break in a car on Sirius. Ain't nobody come back from those. Anytime we stack them, I know it.
Hey, speaking of come back, looked like Vegas came back.
Yeah, it did. It looked nice
Vegas
out
is all the
there.
way back.
Hey, Shregs was live 4 a.m. this morning in
Yeah, he
Vegas.
No, it was the only time.
What?
What? Seriously, that's what the tweet said. It wasn't his first time at 4 a.m. in Vegas.
Might be his best tweet of all time.
Yeah.
Wait, did he do that laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Wait, it
you.
was a video?
No, it was a
it's
photo.
play.
What Connor's doing right now is not cool.
No, it's
Please
not.
play it.
What?
It's
Do you
not a
think
video.
Shrek
video.
slept?
What's that?
Do you think Shreg slept or he just stumbled in from the casino
Well,
floor?
that's what I'm talking about. Like Shregs and Rappaport and them, they're all in Vegas right now.
Yeah.
And we're here in little old Indiana.
That's right.
And we're relying upon them to give us information
Yeah.
so we can do our jobs. We're very appreciative of them. All the insiders. Most of the insiders.
There you go.
We're very, very appreciative. But it's hard to do the NFL the proper justice it deserves when most of the insiders just getting fucking boozed up all
Ain't
day.
that the truth?
It's hard to do our jobs, which we're just trying to promote the league. Not the first time I've been up 4 a.m. in Vegas. See, that's what Connor.
I mean, there's no emoji or anything. Why'd Connor have to do that?
That's what
asshole.
the period's for, dude. He was fucking laughing.
He thought it was a.
Another accent.
Connor said he thought it was just an additive to the tweet.
Yes, and he's smiling in the photo. That's what I thought that he
It's
was
a great
doing.
picture.
Yeah, hell yeah, he looks good.
Just happy he's got a different makeup person than he did when he was in Indy.
Come on.
Hey,
What is your
Shelby,
problem?
You're a bad
That's
guy.
real.
That's
though.
uncalled
Craig's our
for.
friend.
Now
I
you're
love
Shrek.
Shrek.
Shregs is our friend.
He looks good. That's what
Wait,
I'm
you're
saying. He
saying
looks
in
good
studio?
in Vegas.
You're
Shregs, I want to let you know the Indianapolis first day was tough. We all agreed. He agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
exactly.
It was bad when he was here for the combine.
Changed it.
It wasn't
Wait,
good.
when he came into studio, you're saying? Or
No,
on TV?
No, no,
on
no.
TV. When we turn on TV, the first day he was in Indianapolis, he looked like a mannequin. Like
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, they were ribbing him. They made him look like Mrs. Doubtfire. You know,
How dare you guys?
his makeup
The
guy.
makeup lady.
Gal.
Her guy.
For the show.
It wasn't their NFL Network person. It was someone
Lot
they
of
hired
foundation.
private
You
company.
tell me on air they were doing this?
No. He appeared on air like this, and obviously that made its way around the group text 100 times as we're going, what's going on? Shregs is saying something important. Shregs is all the information.
Very jolly.
He had these rosy,
Rosy cheeks.
Rosy red
he-
cheeks, lipstick that was popping.
The makeup person said we all work to do, you know, and then on the next day it wasn't the same. Now I think the first day makeup also he said it was not in good lighting because they hadn't have something set up yet either.
Right.
So it was like a guess and hope type thing, especially that early in the morning. Next day he looked fantastic.
Yeah,
is
he
what we're
did.
saying.
I mean, everybody's got an iPhone with a flashlight. You could.
No, that wouldn't help.
Is that LED lighting that is like on air?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what kind of lighting you need, but Shregs looks great. He doesn't need makeup.
Well, that's what we were saying.
That's-
That's kind of what we're talking about on the first day he was there. It was like, straight.
Peter.
All this boozing these guys do, isn't that part of the gig, though? You get everyone
Networking,
liquored up,
yeah.
get the information spilling out of people's mouths.
Yeah, loose lips.
I mean, you put an ice cold Amstel Light in front of Shregs. What do you want him to not drink it?
Sure.
Is that what he drinks?
Oh, yeah.
Amstel's good.
I know. I
Amstel's
love
delicious.
Amstel Light.
The boys love Amstel.
Big Amstel guy.
Gumpy will house a couple Amstels.
I do love a good
Amstel Light.
Fucking Amstel Light.
They are nice.
Delicious.
Divine.
Nice
Gumpy, what are you
foil
talking? Gumpy hasn't had an Amstel Light since the first time his taste buds touched Bud
Super
Light.
Bowl. Super Bowl.
I
Super
had
Bowl. He's drinking some
I had one on
Amstels.
the way back from the Super Bowl. That's all that was on the.
On the
Flight.
flight.
Yeah, that's
Couple
right.
ice cold Amstel.
It was slaughtering the Amstels.
Everyone was sleeping. It was like 3 a.m. I was like, oh, I'll have another Amstel Light for the lad.
Absolutely delicious.
Champion Amstel drinker. Anyway, Shreg's got to have the Amstel.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got to have it. Rappaport, though, there's no way he survives this draft.
No.
Hey, good luck to Rap.
Good luck. Time. Like a full week out there almost.
That's so long
Exactly.
in Vegas. That is
And
so
he's
long.
taking the red eye. After the draft, he's taking the red eye, he said.
Yeah, what a freak.
Vegas is good red eye options. They know.
Because everybody's trying to get
They
the
know.
fuck out. Oh.
It's not fun.
There was a Vegas trip where I went back to my hotel, grabbed my bags, went right to the airport, booked the flight, and left.
Smart.
Wasn't the scheduled. Wasn't not the scheduled flight. I'm out of here, dude. Fucking give me my bag. I literally did right all by myself, right to the fucking airport. I'm out of here. Got a text from the people that I was with when they woke up. I was already home. Where are you? I'm in my room. Where? Indianapolis, Indiana. Why? I couldn't do it. I can't do another night of that. No way, dude. I'm not gonna be able to function for a month if I stay out there any longer than this place. It is wild. People experience Vegas, I guess, in different ways, and I've never done it. It is so much, too much. You're taking so much happiness from your next 45 days.
Mm-hmm.
Such a blast.
Oh, yeah.
It is
Yes,
non-stop.
yes.
I had to put a governor on. I hadn't been back since. Except for SummerSlam, when I was in one day and out. See you later. Can't do it. Too much fun out there. You go to Vegas? You ever do Vegas much?
Not for, I mean, it has to be some kind of event or whatever. I don't ever just go out there to go.
Oh,
It's fun. I mean, I felt
Those are the ones that'll
when I
get you.
was, I went when I was 30 and I felt old back then. I'm 38. Like I was like, when I remember I'm 30. I'm walking around like these people all look like they're 12. Like everyone seems very young.
okay. So I haven't been there in a long time. I don't know if that's the case or not. I thought a lot of olds used to go out there to live out their glory days.
That happens too. I guess it just depends where you are. I guess.
The golfing, the people got there in golf. It looks like their golf courses are amazing.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Gorgeous.
I had a tee time once.
Really?
Yeah. There was no chance. No chance.
You knew when you made the tee.
Yeah, what time did you get it for?
No, when I made the tea time, I was with people, obviously, that were super pumped about it. And we talked about this in the first hour. If people are super pumped about something, I will get super pumped with them and for them because, okay, there has to be a reason they are super pumped. You know, so I kind of get caught up.
Ty asked, "What time was the tea time made for?"
Yeah, that one was an early one. 7:30. 7:30.
Yikes.
Because I do remember, like at 6:45, I was coming, I think, back or whatever, and I looked in. I got to my room. You just can't go to your room because once you get to your room, you're out.
Done.
So it was either like push through to the tea time, but I had to get to my room to get my golf stuff. As soon as that was all she wrote. Game, set, match there. No chance. They had a great round though. That's a beautiful.
Oh, I'm
course.
sure.
Beautiful course.
Gorgeous.
The fact that you made it. If not, you would have fallen asleep in the car ride there. If you actually got out of your room.
Well, that happened at the Bahamas, right? Whenever we were doing that golf tourney there. I almost slept for that one too. That was these golf things. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You're just out in the middle of nowhere, good weather.
That Bahamas one basically was. I mean, not without the strip. It was a Vegas trip. I mean, it really.
There was a casino right there.
Yeah.
And then there was really. I mean, we could do whatever we want. It was awesome.
It was Baha Mar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a super nice thing.
Yeah, it was super.
I've never been there.
Super nice. Everything very accessible.
Yeah.
And we
stayed up late boozing each night.
Yeah, had to. And Foxy took 14 trips around that place.
Oh, yeah. And then I did the next night.
And then we buried Foxy for getting lost in that Baha Mar place for 20 laps, I think. We came back 2.5 hours after Foxy had left us, and he was walking. Guys. We're like, what happened? He goes, I don't know how to get to our room because there's like a bunch of.
Were you frustrated by that point yet, Foxy?
I was so angry. I just wanted to go to bed. I'm in the bowels of this hotel, of this casino. I see the laundry room. They're doing all the towels and stuff. I'm like, how'd I get here?
It wasn't just that he left us, AJ. He was banished. We sent him to his room. He was so boozed up, the dealer was kicking him off the table.
Yeah, like, Foxy, you gotta go. You gotta go to your room, dude. All right, this is a little bit too much. We'll do this thing tomorrow. You got it. And then 2.5 hours later, we had made 2 more stops after he had left and had pretty good stays at each stop.
Yeah.
I think a restaurant and then like a club. And then we found him. He was still and we walked through the area to get to our room, and the security lady was like, is he your friend? Yes. I have seen him 10 times. Like, this lady was genuinely concerned about Foxy and got him back to that place. Was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome.
Nice. It was a good time.
Glad you made it, Foxy.
Incredibly hungover after that.
Yeah.
We buried Foxy for that, though.
Oh, yeah.
And then literally Ty did it the next
night.
Not as
probably burn off some of that alcohol, though. Do you feel okay the next day?
Yeah, no, not really. That's why I was so mad, because I was pumped to get some sleep, and I didn't get any sleep.
Yeah, ruined the whole day. We won a golf tournament, though.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. That's a belt.
Is that happening again, AJ, or what's going on?
That Baha Mar one?
Did I get kicked off the team?
Yeah, what the hell?
I don't know. Did it happen last year?
I don't know.
Nah, COVID.
No, COVID. Yeah, it didn't happen last year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it canceled?
No, they might be bringing it back this year, but hey, you're focused on Tahoe. We're not even worried about it. Already got the belt from Baha Mar. We're looking for the next
He's doing the
belt.
match in June, so probably not.
I'm done with team golf.
Yeah, who gives a heck? Fuck.
I play for me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, who gives a heck, dude?
Fuck. Hell.
All right, hour 3's on the other side. We got Matthew Ryan joining us live in studio.
yeah.
Wow.
Is
Hour
he
3
there?
begins, right?
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we could talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome back to that show. Hour 3 on this glorious Draft Spectacular Eve. Wednesday, April 27th. It shall begin right now. Yeah. What a show, what a day, what a time to be alive. The Draft Spectacular is tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. We'll be watching along as the 7-hour first round of the NFL Draft takes place. It is our annual tradition. We'll have big-time guests, big-time giveaways, and this year, we are asking you at home to participate and maybe be a part of the show. Hashtag PMS FanDuel FanCam. We are asking you to tweet that and put videos of your reactions to your team's picks. If your video is selected to air on the Draft Spectacular, you will win $500.
Hey.
Be sure to put your Cash App cash tag in the tweet as well so we can pay you efficiently and quickly. Let's go ahead and have an entire evening together. Let's enjoy what the future is potentially holding for the NFL together. For 7 fucking hours, we will be watching as the NFL dominates the headlines, dominates the stories, and dominates the conversation with a bunch of players that we have no idea who they are or if they will be good. Tomorrow should be fantastic, AJ Hawk.
It will. Is Zito going to be sniffing out the fakes if people try to send those fake reaction videos where they throw a bowling ball through their TV?
Well, the funny thing about it is Zito's too busy working Bruce is being tasked with going to. This is actually a big part of the conversation, AJ. This was a big part of the conversation. Like, who's gonna? Okay, because we're not able to watch them live.
Nope.
So who's going to be deciding whether or not the video should come into the show or not? Like who? That's a big time.
Some dude all of a sudden shows his dong or something. We can't do that. Someone's got to screen these things.
Well, of course, not every single tweet.
We got Tom Telesco on. You can't be running something like that.
Who's doing that?
We're not going to have.
I'm saying someone trying to hijack the show.
People will do that.
Nobody should do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that on Elon's Twitter.
Yeah, or you're banned.
If you used to do that on old Twitter, cool. Don't do it on Elon's Twitter.
No.
Don't be putting your dong on there. We want natural, genuine reactions. Maybe some takes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe an opinion.
Some tears.
Maybe. Listen, don't force anything.
No, but if people are mad and upset and you're crying, that's a great reaction.
If we determine it's a fake video, you owe us $500.
Yeah, we'll tell you our cash.
500,000.
No, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yep, and that's why no one will do a fake one now because they'll know they have to pay
Penalty fits a crime.
Stern.
Boom.
Yep.
Penalty fits a crime.
Yeah, because if you don't have a penalty, then people will just run all willy-nilly.
That's right.
Oh, $500, whatever, 500,000. Okay, fine. I'm not going to send in a fake one now.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Big time guests. Tom Telesco will be on live from the War Room. General Manager of the Los Angeles Chargers. Chris Ballard will be on. General Manager of the Indianapolis Colts, live from the War Room.
Whoa.
Aaron Rodgers will be on live from wherever. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Poncha Karma, maybe? I don't know.
Man, his cool leather jacket in Miami, maybe.
Oh, maybe he's talking a little Bitcoin tomorrow.
That'd be cool.
Are we talking Bitcoin with Aaron tomorrow night?
I'd have to.
Are we all putting leather jackets on?
Maybe.
Has anybody been cooler than Aaron Rodgers wearing a leather jacket in Miami talking about Bitcoin? Answer fucking no. Nobody has, AJ.
We'll have to ask him about that tomorrow. I'm sure he.
Yeah.
I mean,
First
leather
question.
jacket, Miami. Let's throw some leather pants on too, bud. That seems really comfortable.
It had to be 1,000 degrees down there. He wasn't sweating. That's how cool that motherfucker
Yeah,
is.
ice in his veins.
That's how cool he is. And we will have another rather large guest.
Huge.
Okay.
Darius Butler will be in studio.
Hell yeah.
AJ Hawk will be in the attic. I mean, tomorrow night's big night.
Here we go.
Can't wait.
I love the draft. I know it's a long time, but I think it's fun.
All right, let's go to the 5 RNG phone line. I think it's fun too.
Yeah,
It
I'm
is
fun to
fun.
see what AJ wears because I feel like he's
Wait,
been
what are
up
we
to
wearing?
something.
What are you talking about?
What are you guys going to wear? We're
Just,
dressing
it's
up?
an event. It's an event.
Yeah.
Come on.
You should just know it's an event.
I mean, that doesn't really do much for me.
Yeah, dress as
Okay.
such.
Yeah.
Zito, what are you wearing, bud?
Whoa. That's
Whoa,
too much.
whoa.
It's an event.
Red carpet at the Oscars, dude.
Yes.
Come on.
Kentucky Derby, you're not going this year, so pick out the Kentucky Derby fit that you bought 8 months ago
actually.
for it.
Okay. Bought my hat 8 months ago.
Are you
About
gonna
the
have?
horse blankets you usually wear.
Thank you.
Jesus. They're animals, dude.
I don't know what that means.
Wait, my shirts with
Like the
different
suit, the
wildlife
baggy
on?
suit he had on, like the draft was like a horse
Oh,
Yeah, man, that was a style back
You
then.
still have that suit?
Yeah, somewhere, I'm sure.
maybe wear that.
Yes.
There you go.
There it is.
Oh,
we just
if I
figured
find
out
it,
what
I
you're
will.
wearing. Wow.
Let's
Good
go.
for you.
Yes.
Hey, I'm happy we did that. You see, if we wouldn't have had that conversation, if somebody would have brought an umbrella to a brainstorm right there, we wouldn't have landed on. You need to wear that quadruple XL fucking suit tomorrow, kid.
That's another
I'm gonna-
surprise.
I'm going to try to find it after this, for real. I would love to wear it.
Bro, it's Thursday too. Throwback Thursday, a little nostalgia. That was fashion, and you wore that, and people were like, "Yeah, that's right. That's what you should wear."
That's awesome.
Can add a swipe to your IG now of you then wearing it and now you wearing it.
That's
Now
next
he's
level.
shit.
Three
Fucking
swiper.
gas.
Draft spectacular.
Yep.
Swipe. AJ draft day
Yes.
suit. Swipe now
Hell
suit. Dude, you did Instagram.
Yeah, you're set
Wow.
for the next 3 years now with one post.
Bro,
Grow your
so
hair
many
out,
likes,
too.
dude. So many likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, will you just
Not
let,
gonna happen,
will you
but
just
yeah.
let that hair flow too?
Please.
All right, what do you mean? Oh, like just wear it, like put it down, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like don't put a bottle of moose in it in the morning like you do every goddamn
Don't be a
day.
bitch
Are
about
you
it.
a mousse guy, gel guy, hairspray guy? How do
No,
you get
like,
that thing
like
taped to your
clay.
head? Huh?
Like the clay stuff.
Oh, you.
You put clay in it?
No, it's like a.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I just put it
How
in
do you
a little
not
bit
get it all just right in the front?
Yeah.
That is tough to do.
Every time
No,
I
it's
try
got to be
do-
in the back too.
Well, yeah, no shit. That ends up
But
being.
it grows. It starts to grow and hold. Like when the girl cut my hair like this years ago, she said, when you like, your hair will start to grow in this direction, so it gets easier as you
Train
go,
it.
and that's kind of I'm lucky with that.
Oh, so you microdose your hair into just going.
Genius.
It kind of grows in that direction now.
That's awesome. Good for you. That chalk clay stuff, whatever. I can never.
Pomade?
It feels like everybody who uses it loves it, but every time I go to put it on my hair, it all just goes right to
right in the front. Just on the front.
Right to here.
Well, I mean, once again, you got to have a little athleticism spread around your hands. And,
I bet.
Your fingers help. Because when you put those busted fingers, it goes right to your head.
Evenly distributed.
It goes right to
WrestleMania, and you can't do this.
What's that, pal?
You're doing flips off the top rope at WrestleMania and all this stuff, but you can't figure out how to spread stuff evenly throughout your hair.
You were complimenting me, and I was kind of burying you. I apologize for that. That was very nice of you to say what you just said. You're goddamn right. I was doing flips all over the place. Yeah, I can't figure it out. I've tried it every time. I don't know why. I think because I was once a gel guy. Yeah.
You have curly hair, though.
Yeah.
I have zero curls.
Have you ever tried putting in like in the brush or the comb and then doing it?
That's 100% chance that just goes right to the front.
Yeah, no, that's what I tried once, and it was very, very.
Oh, so it didn't work.
No, not at all.
I thought you were coming with answers.
No, I was just seeing because I'm trying to cross out the problem, so hopefully we can get to the answer.
Foxy, though, what do you do with you use that shit, right?
Yeah, I used to use what AJ uses. I just switched to this spray powder. It's the greatest shit I've ever used.
Yeah.
There it is.
Spray is a game changer.
Send me a link.
Sea salt spray is nice.
I don't think it's sea salt spray. Is it?
No, I was just saying in general.
Ask Matty Ice. Matty Ice probably uses some old pomade stuff. He's got nice hair.
No, he uses ice, dude.
When he,
Yeah.
Dry ice or
when he comes in
Any
here,
ice.
by the way, I mean, it's just going to be the epitome of professionalism.
Oh, yeah.
BC legend.
Class personified, just sitting right here.
Best behavior.
Is he going to be wearing a suit?
Ooh. No, he'll dress for as such.
Yeah, he's one of the guys. Come on.
He'll backwards had us on him at the OTAs the other day, and he was obviously talking to the boys.
Yeah, spinning it.
Looked pretty passionate about it, and they said caption this photo or whatever. And I would like to hear what the fuck he was saying.
Yeah.
Super Bowl or bust, probably.
I mean, why not with this team? Come on.
All that talent. Now Gilmore.
Let's go to the Gilly Locks in town.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Say hello to Lockdown Time.
Defense is going to be.
We'll be talking to Chris Ballard live from the War Room. We will ask about Gilly Lock. Mm-hmm. We will also ask about any other potential free agent signings. Also, weapons.
Yeah, what's Jarvis doing?
What are we thinking about weapons?
Hey, what do you say?
What do you say about weapons? You're allowed to have faith in your young guys, Chris.
Maybe.
You should just have a plethora of weapons because when somebody inevitably gets injured in the NFL because it's the NFL, boom, you don't drop off at all. Look at the teams that have won the Super Bowl. They have a plethora of weapons. That's right. When somebody gets hurt, boom, plug somebody else. Ronald Jones got hurt, starting running back. No big deal. Leonard Fournette comes in. Boom, he's off and running. That's what you need to have.
Yeah. Maybe he turns into Chrissy Chaos tomorrow. It makes a couple moves. Causes a little ruckus.
Chrissy Chaos.
Is Chrissy Chaos trademarked by Mr. DeStefano?
I don't know, because he had like 18 different Chrissy insert thing. Yeah. Chrissy Connecticut's was one of them.
A lot of personalities.
Yeah.
Chrissy Bits.
Chrissy
Chrissy
Bits.
Bits.
Yeah.
A couple Chrissy Bits.
I don't know if he TM'd it.
I had no idea what was coming when old Chrissy Chaos came into the studio.
And he started off with some lightning.
He came quick.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Old Chrissy Chaos.
Dropped a couple bombs right away.
Mm-hmm.
Set the tone.
Everybody, I asked Tom Segura. Remember, I asked Tom Segura. I'm like, hey, people were telling me that this guy wants to come on the show. Like, I'm very thankful he wants to come on the show. How do you feel? Oh, he's a good young comedian or whatever. And then KFC's like, oh, hey, man, hope you have Chrissy Chaos on or whatever. I'm like, all right, fucking cool, man. You want to come on the show? We're doing the booking. He sat down. I was like, oh, okay, buckle up here. Here we go. I didn't know the Chaos was coming in. What a
He's high energy at all times.
What a lightning rod. Yeah. Literally,
He really was.
That's the only way to describe him. Let's go to the phones. 5 Energy phone line 1-833-4-MAC. Somebody's going to have to be a lightning rod tomorrow about 3-4 hours into this. We all know it. There's going to come a time where we'll catch our second win towards the end, which is always great. But there's a 7th inning stretch that we're going to. Maybe we have a
7th inning stretch.
A 7th inning
Who's going to
stretch.
sing it? Someone's got to sing.
Well, 7th inning is 7 out
Take
of
him out to
9.
the
What
ball
percentage is that? What pick would that be?
That 20,
like 25.
Yeah.
There's good news too. Like,
What's that?
since we're all of our teams are so very, very good, like 20, 22, 23,
21.
Colts are at the end of the first sometime, right?
I don't think we have a pick.
No, you don't. You can be watching Carson Wentz.
Carson
too.
Wentz, yeah.
Oh, but I was saying that's going to provide some energy, but then that backfired, so I'm apologizing.
Well, I'm going to tell Chris to fucking trade up in there.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what we'll tell him when he's on the show more.
Hey, I need you.
Jonathan Taylor for number 28.
Ooh.
Packers.
Yeah, sure. Fuck, we'll
No.
take him.
No.
Aaron Jones.
The answer is no.
Aaron Jones and frickin'
And Al Dillon and Jonathan Taylor. See you in the Super Bowl.
Running the
three-headed dog.
No. Nobody's getting Jonathan Taylor. As Brandon Bean spoke about Josh Allen, I assume Chris Ballard would say, I would trade myself before I would trade Jonathan fucking Taylor. You hear me?
We'll see.
Never know. There might be a guy at 28.
There ain't no guy as Jonathan Taylor. But that's what people are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the draft is so special.
That's right.
That's right.
Because just 2 years ago, when Jonathan Taylor was sliding down draft boards somehow, and he fell into the lap of the Indianapolis Colts, the Colts could have never expected the fact that they were going to get an MVP fucking workhorse stallion in the backfield, AJ. That's what the draft could provide you.
I think they knew. When he was coming out, I didn't say, like, oh, this guy should be, what are we doing? But I said, this guy's unbelievable. And then didn't he run a 4.3 something at the combine?
Yeah, and he's like super. I think his Wonderlic was very high.
He's
got into Harvard.
He's a leader of the team already. Every time he comes on here, I was like, is this the perfect human? Like, he says all the right things.
Yeah, is he a how did he not go? Was that during the time when running backs were kind of undervalued?
Yeah.
It had to be.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
over for running backs in the first round is a half.
Holy fuck.
Under is minus 220.
Jeez.
Minus 220?
Derrick Henry, game changer for the Titans. Jonathan Taylor, game changer for the Colts. Absolute game changer. Najee Harris led the NFL in yards, but the Steelers didn't really have that good of a season. I guess.
How many yards did he have?
Playoff team.
He had over 1,000 scrimmage yards. Nick Chubb.
Yeah, you're right. Much better than the Colts.
Not much better, but
Better than the Colts, though.
Mm-hmm.
But the teams that win are all quarterback based, right?
Yeah.
That's what everybody's looking at?
Yeah.
Yep.
you got run ball in playoffs.
Yeah, I still have those.
Yeah, when the games matter.
Mm-hmm.
When the games actually matter, you got to be able to run the ball and you got to be able to stop the run. You can open everything up all season, but when the games fucking matter, when the weather's terrible, when there's people that are hurt, whenever the whatever the conditions are calling for, you have to be able to run the ball at the end of the season, don't you? You have to, AJ.
I think so. I mean, it definitely makes it a lot easier when you get the lead and you can trust that, hey, we can get some first downs. Like, we don't have to put everything on a quarterback to continue to convert these like third and mediums. Oh, here's a third and long. Like, the quarterback has to continue to make unbelievable plays to keep drives alive. No, you don't want to get yourself there. You want to win first and second down.
And I talk about the Colts a lot, but I think in this particular case, they are a worthy example. We're going to find out if like a running back based superstar team can win it all in this modern era. Jonathan Taylor, I think everybody over there knows he's the best fucking player on the team. You know, like, I don't think there's anybody questioning that. I don't think there is at this point. Was there in the past? I don't know. I think he's proved it, though, going forward. If the Colts can't win with Jonathan Taylor, this offensive line, they're going to have to get a couple weapons. I assume the case is going to be made that it is a quarterback wide open driven league even more, I think. Honestly, I believe that's a real thing.
You need the quarterback, but think about it. The Rams were on that slide, and then they got much better when Com Akers came back, and then the Bengals.
Hey, he was running like a dog.
Bengals have Joe Mixon. Like, yeah, you need the quarterback, obviously, but it doesn't hurt to have a nice little running back.
Yeah, then in the Super Bowl, by the way, the running back's probably going to perform better anyways because everybody's ass is like this tight end.
Yeah, and that's what happens in the Chiefs-Niners game. Like, Damian Williams had 2 touchdowns in that Super Bowl. The Niners went back to the NFC Championship. They were like a run-heavy team.
How come the NFL doesn't care about running backs? Or is it just that there isn't that many good running backs coming out of this class and maybe we're overreacting?
They like to do like running back by committee. Yeah. Like, here we go. We got our big kind of short yardage guy. We have our scat back guy we can throw the ball to out of the backfield and some misdirection. I think they feel like they can do it by committee, and they can also have those guys play special teams.
You know how the tight end position, the special teams thing is big because if you get a superstar running back there not covering a kick.
Your backup absolutely is playing some special teams.
Yeah, it's kind of like he said, the backup. Like, it's kind of like a stable, right? Because even the Colts have Hines, and Hines is unbelievable.
He's moved the slot a little bit more.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor is eating them all.
Hines does special teams, too.
I forget what I was going to...
tight end?
Yeah, the tight end position died. Remember? Tight end position was dead for a long time. Like, because the rules, just because of whatever. And then a couple rules changed and a couple freak show athletes got in there. And the tight end position now is like all the way back. It feels like the running back position, it's been dead for a little bit. And I'm not talking about from actual production. I'm talking about from just like value and allure and conversation and focus, I think. But like, Jonathan Taylor's a guy that can change that. Like, he is a guy that can also... Najee Harris is a guy that can change that entire thing. All it takes is, a couple dogs to get in there and really... Joe Mixon is a guy. I completely forgot about Joe Mixon. He's a fucking guy with the ball.
And when you have when you have a running back that's a guy and a quarterback that's a guy, it make both of them complement each other well. So, like, I know playing against Adrian Peterson twice a year for years and years, our plan always was stop him first. A lot of times that didn't happen. Like, stop him sometimes meant... only 130 yards and 1 touchdown, and we find a way to win.
Well, nowadays it's like we got to stop the quarterback, and he's probably going to throw for 250, and it's like that's going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to get their yards. That's true. Do we stand up where it matters in the red zone? Can we convert on offense, and can we stand up and hold them to field goals? Like, that's how you win.
You got to be a bend but don't break offense with the way the rules, or defense with the way the rules are going. I feel like everybody's kind of adapted to that. Like, let's just hold them to 3 here.
Everybody can move the ball. Like, don't you feel like everybody can move the ball like between the 20s and the NFL? I feel like.
And every once in a while, I guess we'll see one of those dud-ass games where nobody can do anything. And it's like, well, that coach is probably going to get fired, or that quarterback's going to get fired. The NFL doesn't stand for like bad offensive play in places for a while. You know, the NFL, the fans don't stand for it. The NFL doesn't stand for it. It's like, hey, we got to change this. This has to change. Either rules have to change, or coaches have to change, or the person's doing it have to change immediately. It feels like that happens on the offensive side much more than the defensive side.
That's why over a half I feel like is kind of a lock, because if the Bills at the end of the round can get the #1 running back in this draft
Why
class,
not?
that's like the only spot on their entire team, offense or defense, where it's like, you could probably get better there. Like if they get the Iowa State kid, Breece Hall, like why wouldn't they just go get him?
That's Breece.
Yeah.
I remember him from. He's been good for a couple years.
And he's very good. Fast time too, didn't he?
Yeah. His over/under is 36.5.
Okay. It's like the Bills pick at the end of the draft or at the end of the first round. Why wouldn't you just be like, all right, we're just going to take the best player at the running back position and partner him with Josh Allen, and he'll probably be pretty damn good.
Well, because there might be some wide receiver that they like, because Cole Beasley's gone now too.
Lineman.
Now everything's a lock, I guess. Let's get to a break. We have a person that just joined the office, I guess.
Oh, really?
Here we go.
And we might have been buying time, in that entire 20 minutes there, because we did not know when said person was really going to come in.
Good draft talk, though.
Hey, champion draft talk.
Champion.
On the other side, we'll be joined by a future Super Bowl champion.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
New quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. We'll be live in studio right there.
Let's go.
Matt Ryan's back in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
This is the Pat McAfee Show. We'll see you then.
So I'm going to give my weekly story when Pat comes on.
Yes.
Here we go.
So this is my bedtime story right now.
There's a couple refs that you just have it out for, or they have it out for you. And I'm like, before the game, I get the paper, I look, I see the referees are. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get a penalty called against me for sure in this game. And so I'll just say it. It's Bill McCreary.
Wild Bill. We
Wild
fucking
Bill.
hate that guy.
He's a good dude. And I run into him actually in Pittsburgh all the time. So I'm playing in New Jersey, and Bill, there's like the other team trips one of our guys, like a blatant call that's missed. I stand up on the bench. What you do just to be an asshole. I stand up on the bench, take my stick over the board, just boom, 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 boom. I mean, you can hear it through the arena, right? Just boom, boom, boom. Like, come on. It shows him up, right? Come on. And all of a sudden I see Bill just look across. He goes, boom. And he's got like this heavy mustache like this. His mustache, he's just eyeballing me across the way. And he looks at me, I'm standing up, I'm banging my stick. I'm like, fuck you, whatever. So then the play goes on, and I'm tying my skates. I'm on the bench. I'm going like this. I bend down and tying my skates. So like the top of the boards is right here. My head's down. TV timeout. All of a sudden, I hear, shh. Someone stops right here. And I look up, and Bill McCreary's like eyeball to eyeball with me. And he goes, are you showing me up? You want to fucking go? You want to go? And he goes like this. I swear to God, he goes like this. He backs away from me. Let me grab my mic. He backs away from me from the bench. And he goes like this. Come on. And I stand up and I go, Bill, are you challenging me to a fucking fight? I'm like, you asshole. You think I can't? If I fight you, I'll never play a game in this league again. He goes, let's go. Come on, let's go, tough guy. And I'm like, my mind is going like in circles. I'm like, do I fight this guy? Like, come back. What am I supposed to do? He totally won. He knew I couldn't do anything. And I'm just like, I just got to him. I was like, you know what? I'm like, fuck you. And I sat down, and then it was like, I was like, he totally just dominated me right there. And then the next game we played, I was taking the opening face-off of the game. He's dropping the puck. He's standing there before the puck drop. I look at him. He looks at me. I look at him. He looks at me. And then finally, I go, hey, Bill. I go, Billy, let's bury the hatchet, man. I'm sorry. I got away from myself last game. I got away from myself last game. Like, this isn't, I don't treat referees like that. And he goes, no, I did too. I let the heat of the moment get the best of me. All right, man. Truce. All right, cool. Truce. Drops the puck by the end of the first period. We're fuck you.
This seems to be a thing with you.
I run into him all the time. He's a great dude, but that's how it is, man. He's got to fight his fights out there too to save face.
Oh, Rob.
Should I have fought him? Probably not.
I mean, pretty good content. You fight a ref, but also like probably banned forever. I assume.
Yeah, probably.
Not sticky at all, these gloves. Yeah! Did you see that? That's what I thought. Not sticky at all, these gloves.
Man, you grab
Not sticky at all. Yeah! These gloves are just like so slick. They're so slick, it's hard to catch stuff. Shit! It's so difficult to catch stuff. I don't know how these kids are doing it. You know, I have no idea what's going on. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It is Draft Spectacular Eve, Wednesday, April 27th, 2022. And right now we are in a moment that we will remember forever. Joining us live to my left, your right, on screen, AJ Hawk, obviously. Hey, AJ. AJ, it's great to talk to you too. You're awesome, AJ. Love chatting with you, man. You're the best. Okay. Talks the Tables here. One half of the Hammer Down Cowboys is here, Tone Diggs. And joining us live in studio, going into his 15th season in the NFL, his first as a Colt, future Super Bowl champion, ladies and gentlemen, quarterback, Matt Ryan.
Hey! What's up, boys?
Hey. First of all, need to let everybody know this. Matt Ryan walked in with 2 4-packs of Stone Cold Steve Austin's beers. Cheers to you, Matt. Thank you for bringing a brouhaha in here. Okay.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Hey, cheers.
I gotta say,
cheers.
congrats on the WrestleMania deal. It was cool.
Thank you, man.
And a little shout out to my guy Stone Cold. Got to spend some time with him last summer, shoot a commercial, so I thought it would work out perfect.
Hey, cheers to you.
Cheers, boys.
Hey, this is a great way to make some friends.
Hell yeah. Sorry, AJ.
Yeah,
My bad, dude. I didn't send any.
Good.
Yeah, I didn't send any over. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing? You excited about being there?
I am. Yeah, excited. It's going to be, a lot of fun, and obviously, 14 years in Atlanta, a long time, and so it's hard when it ends there, as you well know, playing in one spot for a long time. But there's also a level of excitement, that's coming with this new team, new guys. Really good locker room, so it's gonna be a fun year.
Yeah, at what point, because of 14 years in one place, you're obviously pretty deep in the community, whether it's philanthropy, I assume some business ventures, and your name has just become synonymous with the Falcons organization. New stadium over there. I mean, like, at what point in this entire process did you, you had to battle with that, I assume, right? Leaving there, and at what point did you finally get to, all right, maybe it is time for a next chapter, and kind of, convince yourself it'll be a good move?
Yeah, I think it was definitely hard, because, for 14 years, since I got drafted, with the draft coming up, since I got drafted for 14 years, every day I woke up, it was, what can I do to help this organization win a Super Bowl? And, the whole thing went down with, the 4 teams looking for Deshaun Watson and Atlanta being one of them. And, going through that time frame, I had to take a look around too and see what was out there if something were to go down or whatever. And
did they tell you directly, or you just had to hear about it?
No, I talked with Arthur Smith, head coach, before. He was, it's not stuff you want to hear, but
yeah, so you were bummed about this. This was not something that you were planning on happening, because when the turnover happened, right, and new GM, new head coach, with your contract, with how long you've been around, I think the natural thought was oh, they're going to move on. But then you ball out hey, you played your fucking ass off, it felt like. Honestly, you kept going, and they kept you around. It was oh, did you assume, okay, I'm going to be in this new regime as well? It's I'm with the Falcons as opposed to organization? Or was the writing on the wall? How did that whole thing work out?
I really finished up last year thinking that there was going to be no movement, and I'd be back there and we keep moving on. But as you know, the off season goes through waves, where it kind of, you finish up, last season, and then, you take some time, you get away, and they start to make plans. And, as we were getting closer to getting back, and that kind of went down, I got the sense that, maybe it is the right time. Maybe it's time for me to move on, and it's bittersweet, like you're sad that, that part of it is over because you invested so much in it. But at the same time, I'm not mad about, it was such a good time. It was 14 years. It doesn't happen for many guys. And so, more, I'm just proud of what we accomplished there, and, proud to have been associated. Thankful for, like you mentioned, like being involved in the community, doing a lot of things from a philanthropic standpoint, and also getting to meet all the people that I met. Atlanta is a thriving city. It's booming right now. It's changed so much in the 14, 15 years I was there. And I made so many good contacts that'll be lifelong, contacts for me, which is great. Now I'm excited for this next chapter.
So do you feel like you got, by the way, thank you for saying all that.
Mm-hmm.
That was very transparent there. And, you are a quarterback, so you guys are like held up in this, the perfect human beings. So I appreciate that. But do you have you talked about a fresh start and everything like that. Does it feel like you're almost going back in time? Like there's a fresh energy because you got to prove yourself to a lot of people now, right? And I assume that's how you feel about going into a building with your teammates and your coaches. And these fans are pumped for you. But I assume you're excited to give them a dose of what a Matt Ryan-led Colts team could be as well, right?
Absolutely. I kind of I'm good buddies with Matthew Stafford, so when it was all going down, I kind of called him and said, "Hey, what can you expect? What are some of the things you're going to go through?" And he was like, "Dude, it really feels like." You're 14 years old and you're going from 8th grade or whatever, and you're going to that first year of high school where you're a little bit nervous. You're trying to show off a little bit, whatever, trying to, fit in, all those different things. And honestly, it does feel a lot like that. You're getting to know new people, you're meeting new friends, you're trying to get along with.
Hey,
with
cheers,
the
man.
Yeah. So, I mean, that part's exciting. You're a little anxious, whatever. But you also have that feeling of I need to go prove myself too. I need to go prove that, Mr. Irsay and Chris Ballard and Frank, made a great decision in making this trade. And for me, that's exciting. I think all athletes, to some level, always have that chip on their shoulder or whatever, or always trying to prove something. And this is certainly one of those things you want to prove.
Go ahead, AJ.
Matt, how many systems did you play in your 14 years in Atlanta? And how big of a deal is it for especially a quarterback to digest a whole new system?
So I think I had six different coordinators in the 14 years there, which is, looking back on it, you're like, there was a lot of transition. A lot of transition. Luckily, most of them went on to be head coaches, which was, it's not like they're getting fired and we were playing shitty offense or something like that.
You're like, good luck, Chuck.
Yeah, well, at the time, yeah. But it was probably really two different systems. I think the biggest change for me was the end of 2014 going into 2015, where I had been with Mike Mularkey and Dirk Cutter, and it was the same terminology for, my first 6 or 7 years, whatever that is. And then Kyle came in, and it was like a completely different system, totally West Coast, old school, long play calls, took 3 minutes to get out of your mouth. And that was a hard transition. So I probably played in those two systems most of my time there with different play callers. And then, this, I liken it a little bit to that transition back in 14 and 15.
So how is the, transition? Because this team is built. Hey, Matt, listen, I chimed in to Kyle, who you've probably got to meet by now, athletic trainer.
Yeah. I was Kyle and EB were telling me a little story.
Legendary groups.
They were telling me a little story about you this morning.
Come on.
About a trip to, I think it was Pittsburgh for a Penguins game or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Had a good time.
They said they had a real good time.
Hey, that's a good group there. That whole building is a very
awesome.
good group of people. They know
awesome.
how to win, too. They've been around. You know what I mean? That whole group.
It's a cohesive building, right? Everybody's rowing in the same direction, which to me, it's so hard to win in this league when everybody is going in the right direction. But when there's different parts of the building that might be pulling in different directions, it's damn near impossible to win. And so it's good to come into a building where it feels like that. You would know better than I. I haven't been there for a long time, but you even get that sense the first couple of weeks in the building that it's like, oh, this feels good. Like these guys have a good setup going here.
Where was it? Was there anywhere else that you had to look at because this is a super quarter? You're in a good. Hey, if you're a veteran who knows how to play football in this particular offseason, and you're maybe on the move, it was a great time to potentially be there because everybody's understanding that if you don't have a quarterback, you need a quarterback. For you, whenever you came to that point where, hey, it might be another chapter going somewhere else, how many different places did you look into and what was that process like? Was your agent telling you places that maybe, like, how do you even know?
Yeah, they kind of put together a little rundown on, what the landscape of the league looked like. And to be honest with you, you go through it and trust me, there were a handful of spots that might have been interested, but as you look through the rosters, to me it was like there's one spot that really piques my interest, but it's a two-way street. You can look at it and say, hey, they look really good, and I'd like to be a part, but they gotta feel the same about you, and so I kind of laid it out to my agents that, hey, if and when this happens, I'd like to talk to them first. This is the spot that I'm really interested in.
What, you guys Zoom, FaceTime, they travel?
We Zoomed. So it was a Saturday night, and I had never gone through any of this stuff before it, but it's the hoops they got to jump through to make these meetings happen, are not easy. And so initially I was supposed to do this thing at like 1 o'clock. I had T-ball. So I've got twin boys. We've got like the T-ball opening day parade.
Hey,
and it was supposed to go at 1.
Have to be there. Have to be there.
So I'm like, guys, I'm free anytime after 1 o'clock. They're like, all right, it's going to be 1 o'clock. And then, whatever hoops they have to jump through, I'm like sitting there waiting from 1 until like 6:30 waiting to get a call.
No!
Like, Jesus! This is a Saturday afternoon.
No, T-ball parade day.
We did it. We kind of yanked it. I mean, our
What
guy,
happened?
Colts.
Conti!
It wasn't the Colts. it would, I'm not. It doesn't matter how how I'm down. I'm not going to pin myself in that corner, but it worked out. We were on a Zoom call that Saturday night. Spent a couple, maybe 2.5 hours with those guys, and came away from it. I was up in my office in my house in Atlanta. Walked downstairs and told my wife. I said, I think that's it. I think we've got to make a move. We've got to make a transition. And
were you interviewing them interviewing you? Both?
I think a little bit of both. I think they had certainly done their homework going into it, as had I. And then you kind of get going, you get talking, and they start talking football. Frank starts going with it, and I'm listening and then asking questions about. In my head saying, okay, that's similar to a concept that I ran before. What do you guys do versus this? And
so you guys are talking like high level football right there. You guys are trying to say who's smarter football brain right now?
I wasn't. I'm just saying.
There's only a couple.
Are we going to have answers? Are we going to have answers if we do this? I got to know.
And Frank was able to keep up. That's great news. And Chris,
I know.
And I want to let you know, this town, whenever there's no moves made, by free agency with how much money the Colts had and everything. And then at the quarterback position, we shipped Carson Wentz out of town, and literally there's just no quarterback. And it's like, what are the Colts doing? What are the Colts doing? And all Chris Ballard kept saying was just be patient with his southern accent.
A good accent.
Yeah, whatever the hell he says, And he's incredible at his job. I think it's very apparent with the roster and everything like that. And then whenever it was announced that you were coming here, man, they would have had a fucking T-ball parade for you here. Honestly, this place is like very excited for you to be here, man, because I think if you look at the roster, and let's talk about the roster because you said you looked at some other places, that roster with the offensive line, you have pillars standing in front of you, like literally Colts pillars, organization. And behind you in Jonathan Taylor, like I texted Kyle to ask you like, hey, what do you know about Jonathan Taylor? Like, hey, this dude is different. I got a chance to see him. He can go. The defense is stacked. I don't know what Chris Ballard's got in store for the draft, but when you look at that roster, is this the best roster? No offense to any roster in Atlanta. This is not to be taken that way.
Yeah.
But when on paper, it feels like this roster is maybe one of the best you've ever been on, right?
I think it's one
on
of
paper.
It's one of them. I think I was fortunate. I played on some good teams. There in Atlanta, I think of 2012. We had a really good football team. You talk about skill positions. You throw out a Roddy White, Julio Jones, Tony Gonzalez, Mike Turner in the backfield.
Jeez,
we had some guys. We had some guys. But I do think this roster is built to win. There's no doubt about it. Nothing's guaranteed. We got to go earn it, and that's what I'm excited for. But it's good. I mean, you talk about the offensive line. I'm in there like we're lifting weights this time of the year, and you go in, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys are big, and like, and not that like big and soft. They're like big and like ripped.
Yeah.
And it's
two top 100 players in the NFL on that offensive line.
I know that makes me feel pretty good.
Yeah,
it makes me feel real good.
It should. Wreck-It Ralph, Quentin Nelson he is just an absolute game changer. As soon as he got on our team, it changed everything.
He's a beauty. So my cousin plays for the San Francisco 49ers. My cousin played at Notre Dame with Q, and so I've kind of followed him for a long time from afar, just watching my cousin being like, oh, man, Mike, you're playing good, but this other guard's pretty good too. Like, you guys got a nice little offensive line here. And he's nasty, he's but like that genuine nasty,
yes.
Like not the fake tough. Mm-hmm. And I think he just, I haven't played with him, but, watch him from afar, it feels like the guys feed off that energy, and that level of finish, not putting up with anything and kind of protecting the guys around him. I think that's huge.
Great dude to stand behind. Go ahead, AJ.
Matty, you're so like well-spoken and put together, like what a franchise quarterback wants. I think you make people feel good in Indianapolis. I know you make Pat feel good that you are under center there. But you ever you've seen these guys get monster contracts to do TV. Have you thought about future TV gigs you may do? And also, I bet your kids would love if you bought Tony Stewart, I think, has a $30 million house.
Oh, yeah. Townhouse South.
Looks like
so. Yeah. It's a Cabela's.
Yeah, I'm not getting a Cabela's up here. Maybe something slightly more modest, but, a little bit about, what's next. But I don't feel like I'm there yet. Honestly, I still feel really good. My body feels really good. Still feel like I can play at a high level. And so, from that standpoint, I feel like the competitive fire is still there. And this is still, since I've, can remember, this is all I've ever wanted to do. Like literally all I ever wanted to do was play quarterback in the NFL, wherever it was. And I still feel that way. And, I'm sure, hopefully in, a number of years, that'll be a decision we have to make. But
like 7 years, I'm saying.
Yeah, seven.
How old are you?
I'm 36.
Hey,
but I'm saying, right now you look at some of the older guys been playing that play similar to the way I play. I think there's different ways to play. I know you guys have Aaron on here all the time, and I think those guys who are pocket guys that get the football out. I think there's
so you envision yourself
with all the rule changes too. I mean, it's different from when I first got into the league, and you're protected, much differently than we were at that point. So I think there is, if you take care of yourself, you do the right things, if you want to, and if you're playing at a high level, there's an opportunity to play, longer than ever before.
So we have brainstormed numerous times, because you talk about Aaron coming on here, with what Tom's doing, where he's eating like avocado ice cream and stuff like that. And by the way, you look fantastic. You brought in some beers. That's amazing. You're a human. That's unbelievable. But if you look at what's going on with the rules changes, everything you're talking about, we've always talked like, if you're Aaron could play another 10 years if he wanted to, almost, with how good a shape he's in. You were having that exact same conversation as the world is changing. I find that interesting that you're acknowledging that and being like, yeah, I think I can play a lot longer if I can just keep my body together. Do you do any weird shit? And how do you feel about like how you've transitioned in treating your body?
I've been lucky. I haven't had many nagging things, and so and the big ones are like knees, back, neck, those kind of things. And I've been fortunate, and hopefully I'll continue to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's good. Absolutely. Thank you. Found some wood to knock off right over here.
That's fake. That's fake wood.
Yeah, I work hard. My belief on, is everything in moderation, including moderation. So, it's.
Oh, that's a next level.
Yeah. So it's okay to have a beer every once in a while, or 10, whatever.
Hell yeah.
Sometimes.
So same diet you've always done? You haven't gone through like a full change?
No, I've changed. I've changed a lot since.
Do you have a body guru?
Not really. My wife, she's.
Russell Wilson pays $1 million a year. We saw a post. Russell Wilson had an arm guy, a leg guy, a foot guy, a wrist guy, a cardio guy, and an upper body guy. Yeah. And then the Peloton guy was putting an Air Force mask on him.
That's right.
He has an entire team. They talk about it. LeBron James, I think he has an entire team. Like these Tom Brady has an entire fucking company that goes around it. You don't do any of that.
Not quite to that extent.
I like hearing this. This is good for the Colts.
Yeah.
This is good for the Colts.
Guy.
Yeah,
My
burn
belief
beer.
is, I went out to see Adam Dado, who's kind of in that Tom House tree. So I went and saw Adam and Tom House.
Who are they?
They're like throwing arm care guys that kind of help you train the way you do.
Shout out to Dado and House.
Yes, awesome, right? And so they're great guys and have helped me a bunch. But I went to them in 2015, and I've stuck with that program to maintain your shoulder, maintain your elbow, maintain your low back, maintain kind of those throwing muscles. And I'm pretty religious about that. And then, from a training standpoint, I've always been in two places. Like in Atlanta, we had a really good setup, and people who took care of your body really well. And then you come here and you know it. Like you walk into that building and you start to spend time with these guys and you say, I don't have to go outside the house. We've got really good people in the building here. In the sports science department, here in Indies, they're pretty awesome too. I mean,
yes.
And I never seen this thing, Note Meal or whatever that they have that you have to order your meals on, but it like does the macros of like your breakdown on exactly what you're eating. And I'm like, shit, I could be a little tighter than I was.
That's some information I never heard before.
Yeah. So I think that stuff's really going to help me out as well.
I told you about this as we were walking in, but I feel like Jim Irsay wants to win a couple Super Bowls for the grandkids, and he made a promise to this city.
That's right, two.
Multiple in the same decade. But I think Jim Irsay, like you're talking about with these note meals and sports science and the building and everything, Jim Irsay's going all in right now. And I think you are another signing of that. Stephon Gilmore, they just signed. Like it feels like the ownership all the way. Have you met Jim Irsay? What have your interactions been with him? And he is a beauty, that guy.
Yeah, he seems great. So I have not met him in person, but I've talked to him on the phone, and we've had kind of a handful of back and forths. And you can tell everything in the building is done with the mindset on winning, right? There's nothing that they're doing that's just for show or for there's a purpose behind everything they do. And as a player, that's really all you can ask for. I don't need like the bells and whistles. It doesn't need to look great, and the facility looks fine. I'm not saying that, but like it needs to be set up with winning in mind. What are the things we can invest in that are going to help us win? And I think, from my short time here, I feel like they've done a really good job of keeping the mindset on what's going to help us win.
You heighten everybody else too, by the way. As soon as you walk in the building, there's people that are going to step their job up because it's like, hey, Matt Ryan can get there and win. And I want us to have a great relationship, you and me. But I have to bring something up that is terrible. And I have terrible memories in my sports career, and they are awful. You have one that gets referenced all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And it has to be very, very...
I'm going to take a big sip of this.
Yeah. Cheers. As we dive into this,
Cheers.
this is where we become better friends. This is where we got to get in there because I'm intrigued to hear your thought process behind it all because I've had to deal with a terrible situation in sports where the backlash still continues to haunt me to this day, both on Twitter, social media, and in my mind. In that situation, a lot of decisions were made, whatever. How do you use that every single day? And is it something that you think you'll ever be able to fully move past?
Well, I think it's always somewhere in there, right?
Yes.
I think it's always somewhere in there. And I don't see that as a bad thing, right? Like, obviously, would have loved for that game to have gone differently. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. But didn't. And there's not shit we can do about it now. And so, if you don't use that as a learning opportunity, like as an opportunity to be better and to be better the next time you're in it, then it's wasted, right? It's one of those scars that you accumulate throughout your life that's wasted, right? You don't learn from it. And so I do think it makes you like, I don't know the right word to say, but like harder.
Callous.
Yeah, callous. Callous is perfect. Yeah. That's why you do what you do. Good with the words. But it does make you calloused. And I think that's good because I think that in order to win playoff games, in order to win championships, it takes a hard mindset. It takes a calloused team. And I think that, as a result of going through that the last time, whenever, hopefully we can get that opportunity, I think you have that calloused mindset of going in there and saying, no, it's never over. either way, and we got to find a way to get the job done. And I'm thankful in a small way, for that.
Do you think you still have the same competitive fire now if that doesn't happen?
That's a good question. I don't, probably not, because it.
Hey, I want to let you know the culture thankful what happened there.
We're
thankful you're here, man.
Frank started the team meeting off last week. He was talking about, the end of last year and kind of summing up the last year and that being the last time we talk about it. And he was like, can't change it, wouldn't change it. And because it's brought us to the point where we're at. And in my head, I'm like, well, there are some things I would like to, some things I want to change. Just one small thing. But, he's not wrong. I think there are things that happen in your life that get you to the point where you're at. And, I think they make you into the person you need to be ready for that next great opportunity. And I'm excited about that.
Hey, we're pumped for it as well. And cheers to you answering that.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I was trying to figure out how to ask it, but you showed up with Stone Cold's beers.
Right.
I just assumed we should just ask it. But now that you are, in a position to make a run again in that building, you've been in there meeting. How has it gone? Introducing yourself to everybody. Who are some of the people that you've been kind of taken back and surprised by? Leader in the locker room. Are you a vocal leader in the locker room? How have you found making new friends? Because this is probably something that's different. Everybody was coming into your locker room before. Now you're coming into somebody else's.
Yeah, for sure. That part is definitely different. Even when it was new teammates coming in, there was still that sense of hey, I know how the operation runs around here. And if I see, doing something that either goes against what we were doing or whatever, you're in that position to say, hey, that's not how we do it here.
Your resume warrants respect.
Correct. And just the time spent in the same building, right? There's always those guys that have been around that building for a long time. And regardless of what their position is, there's a level of respect that comes with that because they've been doing something right.
Yes.
Right? If you're staying in the same place for a long time, you've been doing a lot of things right. And it's different for me coming into that building. But guys, I've been surprised by, a DeForest Buckner to me.
He's massive.
Big dude. There's no question about that. But just we're in the training room or whatever, getting treatment in the morning, and you hear this guy talk and he's like a special human, a really, really good dude, as professional as they come, great mindset. He spoke in front of the team the other day about what the objectives for the offseason were, and you were like, wow, that was and some of those things, you've sat in those. Some of them you're like, oh my God, why would you choose him?
It feels so uncomfortable.
Why would you choose him, right?
And,
but he finished up and you're like, man, that was really good. That was well done. So he's been impressive.
All pro, by the way, too. So not only.
Great player. And that only adds to it, right? There are certain guys, we've all played with them that, are unbelievable players, but not necessarily they're not the leaders. It's not always the guys that are the best players that are in the leadership positions. But it's awesome when your best players are the best leaders.
Yes.
That to me is when you've hit it. And he's one of them. Darius Leonard, awesome. Loud. I get in the locker room, music's going, he doesn't shut up. They're playing cornhole, they're doing all that stuff, and he's pretty damn good at cornhole too.
Yeah, I've heard that whole locker room.
The whole locker room's good.
Yeah.
They were like, "You want to play?" I was like, "Let me see you guys play first." I'm good right now. I'm gonna have to practice this summer.
Hey, you will get hustled in the locker room too, in cornhole or any other game that happens as well. Not you. I'm just saying.
No doubt.
In an NFL locker room,
anybody.
You are trying. You are trying to get got at any point at that time.
So that's why I didn't play the first day. I'm like, let me see how this is going first.
14 years in the NFL.
Yeah, a little bit of experience. But it's been good. On the offensive side of the ball, we got to throw yesterday. I threw it Naheem Hines. He's
backflip in full pads.
Unreal.
That guy.
Crazy athleticism, super fast, really good hands out of the backfield. A worker. The one thing I have been really impressed with coming in is the way the guys work. There is, and I always think that's the best combination is where you can be loose in the locker room, you can be loose walking out onto the field, and then the whistle blows and everybody locks in and you go. And I think they're young. They might need a little bit of guidance in certain directions, but the culture part, that part of it, has been really cool to see coming into.
Go ahead, AJ.
Hey, how fast into that Zoom meeting with the Colts executives did you know, hey, this is my spot?
Pretty quick.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty quick.
10:15, had to play hard to get there for 2 hours and 15 minutes?
Yeah. I should have been like, guys, let's save each other some time. This is going to be good. I knew pretty quick. Chris, one of the things I loved was the Zoom meeting started and Chris kind of, gives a bio of his time in Indianapolis. And the thing I loved was it wasn't a highlight reel. He's like, here's some of the things we did well. Here's some of the things I screwed up. I wish I could, And to me, like, that is the stuff that sells you. It is the self-accountability, the not being scared to make a mistake. If we do, we correct it, because that stuff happens. And I think one of the things that, can hurt a team is sometimes when you don't acknowledge some of the mistakes that you made, you kind of hang on too long. And, that part to me, he said that, and then Frank started talking and going through, his beliefs on how they could get better and so on and so forth. And I was like, okay, cool. Sounds good.
Oh, you guys want me to talk now?
Yeah.
Well, I played in Atlanta a long time.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank, let's see who's smarter in football. I like that definitely happened, by the way. That 1,000% happened. You know it. I know it. You two going out, who can out football IQ each other? Because there's only a few of you guys that can have those conversations these days.
He can go toe-to-toe with anybody. He started going, I'm like, shouldn't have asked that question.
That's like whenever people watch the Manning cast, and another, like Russell was in there talking to Peyton, and Eli was chiming in, but he's not really, doesn't dive into all the conversations, but Peyton and Russell, you could hear them both trying to out-football each other, and it was like, oh, this is awesome. I love when this is happening.
Some guys you have to defer to, though, right? Like there's a handful of guys that when they go, you're just like, yep.
Like Peyton.
Yeah. Peyton, Tom, those guys have, they just, I like, maybe it's the second greatest comeback in the history of the NFL,
probably.
which is hard. Anyhow,
it's fucked up.
A little.
Yeah,
but when he goes, but then having played with Jim Kelly for so long, there's just there's a level of respect that you have for that position, and I think all the guys who really, love football, who love, playing the game, you hold the position, like playing the position in a certain regard. And it was cool to hear Frank, talk that way. And, I have so much respect for how he goes about it.
When Tom Brady comes to the AFC South, did you have a relationship with him prior to that? You went to BC, and he was probably up there at the same time. I don't know if you guys ever met them, but you said Tom and Peyton. Is there guys that you looked at that like inspired the way you play? And was there people that you were learning from while still in the league, even here in the later years, or anybody like that?
Yeah, those guys were the guys, because they were like that. I saw them play in college. I saw them play in the NFL before I even got to college, and so you have this like, man, that's what I want to be
fan,
like. Yeah. And then, I got to know both of them. I got to know Tom, not while I was at BC. We didn't have that great of a following, like fan base or whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal. Boston college football, and I love it. And
Matty Ice,
the biggest
deal Matty Ice, dude.
Yeah. We had a good run. But it's a professional sports town.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to know him after I got drafted, and it would be a text message here or there, kind of a little bit of back and forth. But he was always super helpful, throughout my career of if I needed something or text him about something, he would get back to you. And then he came to the NFC South, and I was like, really? All the other divisions, like, really?
And then a retirement home happened down there, basically.
I know. And so they've had a good setup. So he was one of the guys, I looked up to. Drew was another, and I had to play against Drew Brees, every year for 13 years. I mean, it was, just as good as they come, man. Just a competitor, never out of it. Always knew, regardless of what team he was rolling in with, you always knew you had to go out there and put up points because he was going to find a way.
Do all quarterbacks get along with each other?
It's one of those positions I kind of think they do.
Yeah, have to, right? Because you guys are the only ones that really understand.
Yeah, for whatever reason, there's there's just a lot of the guys that I've met along the way. We're all, kind of cool to each other. You're closer with some than you are with other, but exactly.
You all golf.
We all golf, and
You're going to golf today, it looks like.
yeah, maybe. I told you this story before I came on. I was saying a wise old coach, Keith Armstrong, was our special teams coach in Atlanta for like 11 or 12 years. And one of the days he was, it was early on in my career, and I asked him, I'm like, Keith, you going golfing this afternoon? You're in a polo. He's like, Matt. He's like, let me give you a piece of advice. He was like, you dress up in golf attire every day so that nobody actually knows how much golf you're playing. And I was like, some genius to that, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be the guy who's playing too much, or whatever. So if you show up in it every day, but in fact, I am. I'm gonna go play with some of the teammates this afternoon.
You a good player?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
You're real good.
I'm okay.
What do you shoot? Like 73?
Yeah, I'm usually
he's better.
low mid 70s, something like that. But it's
pretty good.
You have
I feel like
you had so
Oh,
much
my
fun
God.
when you're golfing. That has to be so much fun.
What's that
You
called?
go-
Like a plus handicap?
At times I have been plus. I'm currently
Jesus.
not. Yeah, I'm currently.
Oh, so you're really fucking.
Very-
No. I'm okay.
Oh, shut up.
Humble too.
Well, here's the thing, though. There's levels of good, right? So I've gotten to play with some like really good players.
Play growing
PGA
up?
Tour. No, I didn't. I played football, basketball, and baseball all the way through high school. So we
Started when you got in the NFL.
Yes. So you got to figure out what to do with the off-season time, right? And in Atlanta, I was saying it a little bit before, you have beautiful winter weather, right? And so you're golfing, whenever you finish up, you're golfing, I'd work out in the morning. And at the time, I was only dating my wife. But at the time, I had, she was working. And so she wouldn't get home till like 6:30. I'd be done at like 9. I'd be like, all right, I gotta fill this void. And let's not fill it with something that's going to, get my ass out of the league real quick. So golf was a good choice.
So you said whenever you play alongside people, who do you play? You play against like Tiger?
Well, I've never played with Tiger.
Oh man, what's the deal? This guy stinks. You never played with Tiger Woods? Dude, that's amazing.
I played with Phil a handful of times.
Recently?
I talked to him recently. This is prior to all of this stuff, but he was really cool to me. But I've gotten to know some of those tour players, and then you play with them, and you think like, oh man, I'm getting better, and then you go and
They cook
get,
you?
oh my god, get dusted. I mean, they're good. They're just a different level of. I mean, people probably tell you all the time, I could do this, I could kick, I could put, and you're like, oh yeah, and then you see them do it, and you're like, you suck,
Yeah, that's valid. That's a valid point.
That's what they think of like even decent country club golfers.
Isn't it just you versus the course though? Like
Bullshit. I think it is you. To me, it's all about the bet.
Oh, what's on the line? What do we got?
Yeah.
Are you a wolf player? You like to go? What do you play?
Am I what?
Wolf in the game Wolf?
Oh, I like Wolf. We play some Wolf. We play this game Hammer. We play
Hammer. That'll cost you.
Yeah, it will.
Especially when Hammer.
Dahn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who plays this game. We call it Vegas, and it's like a cumulative team score, and there's a dollar amount to whatever you're playing, and whoever's down can kind of alter whatever the dollar value is.
Why don't you? Do you play any of these celebrity tournaments or anything like that? And how do you do?
I did okay. I played in that American Century tournament like my first 4 years, but the timing is tough. When you're still playing and you're on the East Coast, the timing was tough because it's like a week or two right before training camp, and it's it was kind of hard to get to. And so when I got married and then had the kids, it kind of cuts in at a hard time where you're doing some of that family vacation before you get to training
You
camp.
think you could compete in that though?
Well, I don't know. It's been probably 10, 11 years since I played. I'm a much better player now than I was then.
Conti, get his fucking ass in the
here we
tournament.
go. Get him the top.
We need the
I'm not
Colts
going.
Quarterback to
When
win.
I'm done, I'll go. When I'm done playing.
I mean, you could win. You shoot in low 70s. I mean, you could.
Yeah,
compete
you've been
for
out.
sure.
You've been out. I mean,
He's there every
that
year.
one's about. It's like
I almost won the last couple
don't
years.
make any double bogeys and make some birdies.
This is my first year there this year.
You're playing?
Yeah, man.
You're gonna love it. AJ. I mean, it is an awesome time. It is. I used to go out. So my younger brother and my older brother would go with me, and we would we would fly out to Vegas for like 3 days beforehand and then go to Tahoe
that's
after
a good
that
idea.
and get dialed
Smart.
in.
That's a
for
good
everything.
idea. Smart.
It was,
a great
I
idea.
think that's
Yeah.
what you need to do. That was my typical routine.
Boom.
And
won't be
and you
tired
would
at all
get
when
dialed.
How old were you? You were 20 something though.
I was young. I got
Yeah,
a funny
exactly.
story from when we were out there. So I don't know if I'll put names on it, but
Smart.
my
Don't, by
my
the way.
younger brother, he would caddy for me, and he was in high school and college at the time. And so I went like, they asked you, would you like to play as an amateur or professional? And I'm like, well, what's up? And they were like, well, if you play as a professional, you get whatever money, whatever place you. I was like, I'll play as a pro. And so I would tell my younger brother, he would caddy. And so he and my older brother would alternate days. And so my younger brother, I said, hey, whatever I make,
You're a pro golfer.
you'll get it. You'll get it. Not anymore. I think I've got my amateur status back. But it's been so long. But so anyhow, we're at this dinner. They have like a welcome dinner or something one of the nights. And so my younger brother's he's like 18 years old or 17 years old. And we're sitting at this dinner, and there's this legendary head coach who was retired at the time who had like a winery. And we're sitting around talking, and we're drinking wine and all this stuff, and they're going around the table asking the everybody what they do. And they get to my younger brother, and they're like, so John, what do you do for a living? And he's like, well, I'm a senior in high school.
Hammer drop.
Just smashing their wine, drinking it like it was beer. Yeah, it was funny.
Golf trips are awesome. I can't wait to go out there. Good luck this afternoon, golf. And the boys have some questions for you. Is that all right?
Yeah, let's go.
Go ahead, Ty.
Matt, you mentioned having a chip on your shoulder too, like every competitor does, and that you want to play several more years. Does it piss you off at all? I feel like these last few years, like your name doesn't really get mentioned with those really elite guys. And as a Packers fan, I mean, I've watched you fucking gut them time and time again. Does that ever get to you at all, or is it one of those things where you've played for so long, you know what you're capable of, you know what you can do, so you really don't give a shit what the media's saying?
Yeah, I think the older you get, the less you care. There's no doubt about that because
calloused.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that, and I think you stop worrying about what other people say. You start valuing more the opinions of the people you trust. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. And I'm confident, in my ability. But it's always nice to prove those people wrong too. There's still that part of you that's like, you don't really know what you're talking about, and I'm going to show you.
Yeah,
and
Drew
so,
Brees said, "Give me all of that." He said.
Yeah, I think it's so different now too because it's just constant. Even my first couple of years, it wasn't as constant. Whether it's Twitter or it's people coming at you or anything. I think it's just more constant now. So you become numb to it to a certain extent, but you also, it's not bad to prove people wrong.
Hey, you and Julio still get along pretty well?
It's a young wide right now.
Just slid it in there. Just slid that in there. That was nice.
Well, I was just proving people wrong. I think he's got
that's right.
Julio do that too. A lot of people say bad things about Julio.
Yeah.
That guy was a distraction, bad for the Titans, they said. He's got so much to prove still.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
He's an absolute specimen in my eyes. You still talk to him ever?
Yeah.
Good relationship.
Yeah, very good. I love him. So we played 10 years together. And
is he free agent?
He's available right now.
Really?
Yeah, he's available. Draft spectacular tomorrow. Would be cool right before then.
Chris is on.
Chris Bauer knows. Anyways, go ahead. Yeah, 10 years together.
Awesome guy. Awesome dude. Great player. Great teammate. Nobody impacted, and I played with some great players, but nobody impacted my career as significantly as he did. And I really enjoyed it. He was one of the best players you'll ever play with. Also an excellent card player.
I was about to
say. Big on the back of the plane. He was one of the guys I played Tonk with all the time on the flights home. So
Tonk, good game.
Good game.
Good.
And not many people know it.
Tonk, great game.
Great game.
Yeah.
Cash changes quickly.
Which
is good because you just got to get hot late. As soon as that flight's coming down, you need to get hot and then roll.
I saw Julio playing, and I was about to say I saw him playing blackjack in the Bahamas at a resort or whatever. And I saw it was at the pool, and I saw this human. He was wearing a white cloth tank top, and he was playing every single hand or whatever, and his shoulders ate up the next seat over in the middle of it. And I was like, God damn, that's the biggest motherfucker I've ever seen. So I get out of the pool. I am rather intoxicated, and I just do a peer over, and I look. I'm like, fuck, that's a wide receiver in the end. That is Julio fucking Jones. He is massive. The sheer size and athleticism of him. I mean, what a prototype for a fucking wide receiver. And he's a good dude. That's great news.
Yeah, great dude. He's an awesome teteammate. But he's as physically like gifted as anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Stud.
He should be a Colt. Yeah. Go Colts.
Yeah.
Ahead,
I
Colin.
don't know about that. But you mentioned talking to Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Did you reach out to Phillip Rivers at all? Just because he did the same thing and came here to Indy?
I did. Yeah. I talked to Phillip, as the process was starting to get going, just to pick his brain about coming in, about Frank, about Chris, about his time here, what he thought. Another guy I played against for a long time. And have so much respect for, and he was great. Really insightful, really helpful, really honest, and he's one of the good dudes.
Tom,
I don't know if I just noticed it more last year, specifically the 49ers game. You were just putting your head down and running, trying to run through people. And I feel like at 35, 36 years old, and I feel like I saw you bleeding a few times last year, more than a few times last year. Was that just because you felt you had to make plays more with that roster or situation?
People calling you soft. You're trying to prove yourself.
Right.
I'm quite comfortable with my level of toughness. I'm good with that. Yeah, I don't know. I think you do get a feel for the team you're on, how you're going to win games, what you have to do to help the team win games, and that's different every year. I love the guys on the roster I was with last year. Man, they played hard. They gave you everything they had, but we had to find ways to do the job, and that was one of them. In certain situations. You've got to get out and you've got to try and make a play. I'm not trying to run people over often, but sometimes you got to. I got smoked on the one end.
Hey, let's not do that.
That was a bad mistake.
Hey, hold on.
I went in and then I was like, oh no.
Yeah, let's not. No. Hey, we need that not happen.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that. Yeah, last year we had a quarterback sprain both of his ankles one play.
I know that. Who did that? From afar, I was like, how?
Yeah, it was painful. And guess what? He got right back out there. He tried to do it again. And that was almost like it was scary to watch him play because his highs were so high. He was so good.
Sure.
But then he literally did not care about his body at all. So as I'm hearing you talk about wanting to run people over.
No.
Oh my God.
I think you misheard. I don't want to run people over.
I will run them over. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Couple quick questions though that we have to get cleared up.
Okay.
You walk into a store, okay? And it's like a farming store.
Oh man.
Okay.
This is new. This is new to me.
No. I think you'll get it right.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply. There's a John Deere tractor right here, and then there's a Bobcat tractor right here. Which one are you more likely to purchase, Matt?
John Deere.
Hell yeah!
My dad had one growing up.
All you need to know. That is all you need to know.
Oh yeah.
All right, that was the only question.
Holy shit.
All right, that was the most important part of this whole thing.
Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah.
Bucket.
Super Bowl. Do you want to guarantee a Super Bowl or anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't say thank you enough, dude. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you for being cool. Thank you for the beer.
Yeah.
What? Steve Austin's Broken Skull American Lager.
What?
Also available as an IPA.
What?
I drank 55 of these WrestleMania night. They were delicious.
They are pretty good, man.
They're very
That's my
good.
first one.
Yeah, very good.
It's pretty good.
First one, bad friend. You said you were friends with Steve. You didn't.
I know. This is bad. Steve, my bad.
Yeah, I know.
I'll get on it.
No, we're past it. New chapters, new
That's right.
beginnings.
That's
right.
First one stories.
My body guru told me
Ladies and gentlemen, the new quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. We can't thank you enough for your time. Good luck with everything, Matthew Ryan. All right, we're back tomorrow at noon. We'll go noon to 2 tomorrow. Then obviously the Draft Spectacular starts at 8. New vlog at 7:50. Same link. We'll launch that tomorrow. Thank you to all of our guests. Thank you, Matt Ryan. You are the best, dude.
Thank you, guys.
AJ, you're the best. Everybody, cheers. We'll see you tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. Everybody get rest.
Here we go.
Tomorrow's a big day. Draft Spectacular day. Cheers. See you then.